Chapter 2:16. Ha, you are only at the spirit gathering stage. How dare you fight me in close combat without a protective light? The flame dragon laughed loudly. The spiritual power of the gold core stage had completed the transformation and could construct a layer of protective light to enhance the defense. This was also one of the means of crushing the spirit gathering stage in the gold core stage. In the face of the flame dragon's ridicule, Jiang Xi just sneered, ha. The spiritual power of the whole body was running in a special way, and a thin layer of purple light covered the whole body. At the same time, accompanied by gusts of wind, circling around the body, filled with inexplicable Tao rhyme. A purple protective light. What? The flame dragon was shocked. Using the means of the gold core stage in the spirit gathering stage. It must be fake. Go to hell. The flame dragon didn't believe it. With a roar, the red protective light of the whole body was like a flame, with a temperature of thousands of degrees, as if it could melt steel. The huge fleshy wings were like flaming scythes, waving at Jiang Xi. It can't be fake. Jiang Xi seemed casual, and the profound condensation sword instantly attacked. The Tao rhyme spread, and the long sword condensed into a layer of sword shadow that seemed to be able to penetrate everything. He used the sword intent at the beginning. Poof! The profound condensation sword pierced through the fleshy wings of the flame dragon, and the power of the sword shadow broke a big bloody hole on it. Roar! The flame dragon roared in pain. The other fleshy wings with flames fell on Jiang Xi's side like lightning. Clang! It was like hitting a shield, and it didn't break the defense. Impossible! The flame dragon opened its eyes wide in disbelief. With its strength, the blow just now could definitely easily kill a spirit gathering stage cultivator, and even a gold core stage cultivator would be injured. But Jiang Xi blocked it easily. What shocked it even more was that Jiang Xi's protective light was even stronger than its own. Is this the spirit gathering stage? Nothing is impossible, come again. Jiang Xi was in high spirits. This battle was much more refreshing than the time when he killed the iron-backed golden centipede. His protective light was indeed condensed by the spiritual power. Although he hadn't formed the gold core yet, his 100 refining method had completed 1/10. That was 10 times, 10,000 hammers. Under this kind of tempering, his spiritual energy had already undergone a transformation. Furthermore, the degree of transformation was absolutely not inferior to the early Aurus core stage. Therefore, he was able to rely on his spiritual energy to display the protective light, a technique that was only available after reaching the golden core stage. Other than that, he had also integrated the Gale True Intent into his protective light. His defensive capabilities were not something an ordinary golden core stager could compare with. Cultivation level, spirit accumulation, late stage 88200-88200, Tao techniques, true intent of Gale, 500,000/500,000, sword intent, 820-5861 million, amplitude, 16. 591 deduction, 10,000 EXP per use cultivation method, purple cloud sword manual, peacock visualization experience, 9.77 million, through the panel, it could be seen. Through another 3 months of secluded cultivation, his comprehension level towards sword true intent already reached over 80%. The amplification of spiritual power was more than 16 times. After using the sword intent, the strength of 1 unit of spiritual energy was equivalent to 16,591 times of the original. Furthermore, Jiang Xi's spiritual energy had already begun to transform. The strength of his spiritual energy was even higher than the early Aurus core stage. Therefore, others might think that he was only at the late spirit accumulation stage, but in reality, even if he was at the middle Aurus core stage, he would not be afraid. This was where Jiang Xi's confidence lay, in his fearlessness towards the flame dragon. He wantonly displayed his strength, completely suppressing the flame dragon. Furthermore, the profound condensation sword was also a low-grade spiritual weapon, much more powerful than the flame dragon's body. With this, the flame dragon gradually fell into a disadvantageous position. The flame dragon was anxious, and its raging flames rose. It was confident that it could fight against the middle Aurus core stage, but now it was going to lose to a human cultivator at the late spirit accumulation stage. Impossible, you're just a spirit accumulation stage human, no matter how strong you are, you can't defeat me. The flame dragon's angry roar echoed in this space. It realized that it could not do anything to Jiang Xi. Jiang Xi could break its protective light, but it could not break Jiang Xi's. What made it even more annoyed was that Jiang Xi's movement technique was very agile, and it was difficult for it to catch Jiang Xi. Don't take my benevolence as your capital to be arrogant. After provoking me for so long, is this all you've got? Facing the flame dragon's angry roar, Jiang Xi was very calm, and his mouth mocked mercilessly. The profound condensation sword light and sword shadows constantly slashed across the flame dragon's body, leaving behind horrifying wounds. Therefore, the flame dragon was even more furious. It's time to end this. Jiang Xi had already noticed that there were many gazes gathered here. If they continued to fight, there might be people who wanted to take advantage of the situation and come up to interfere. Sword intent. Although Jiang Xi was carrying an animal skin box, his movements were not affected. The sword light flashed, and the profound condensation sword's Taoist rhyme seemed to be able to affect the surrounding space, making the flame dragon feel a piercing chill. Roar! Damn Easterner! The flame dragon was shocked, and it spat out red flames from its mouth. It wanted to make the first move to gain the upper hand, so it used all its trump cards. Kill! However, Jiang Xi ignored it and swung his sword. The sword shadow that was almost the size of the sword suddenly pierced through space and arrived in front of the crazy flame dragon. Chi! The sword shadow pierced through the flame dragon's head. It was a one-hit kill. Its flame breath and protective light were of no use at all. You killed an early-stage golden core flame dragon, experience points plus 1000. At the same time, Jiang Xi activated the Gale True Intent and flashed continuously, dodging the flame breath. Boom! The flame dragon fell to the ground, and the blood that flowed out was like lava, emitting an extremely high temperature. A powerful golden core great demon died just like that. In the distance, the cultivators and great demons were shocked when they saw this scene, and they looked at Jiang Xi in horror. Too powerful. It was beyond everyone's expectations. One had to know that the flame dragon had already proven its strength in the few battles last night. It joined forces with the Silver Wolf King and successfully killed a golden core cultivator from planet Alpha. However, even such a powerful flame dragon was killed by Jiang Xi's sword. That Jiang Xi is strange. Not only is his spiritual energy strong, but the sword in his hand is also not an ordinary item. That's why he can suppress the flame dragon in terms of attack. Someone analyzed. There were also people who observed the battle between the Xian Tian and the Silver Wolf King and secretly asked with greed, also, the black saber that Xian Tian is using looks different from the spiritual weapons we use. What kind of weapons are they using? Even though everyone was tempted by the weapons in Jiang Xi and Xian Tian's hands, no one dared to make a move. Because they did not dare to underestimate the combat power displayed by Jiang Xi and the other two. At this moment, the skinny old monk was staring at the spiritual weapons in Jiang Xi and Xian Tian's hands. He did not hide the greed in his eyes, and he did not look like a Buddhist cultivator at all. Just now, he killed a few spirit-nurturing stage demons with a wave of his hand. Since then, no cultivator or demon dared to challenge him. It seems that the inheritance of the people of Xia is almost broken. That kid called Xian Tian actually did not refine the spiritual weapon after obtaining it. This is a chance for me. If I can obtain a spiritual weapon, my strength will at least double. Then, I will be invincible in this world. He was the old monk who had awakened from the ruins of the ancient pagoda in Peacock Country. Because his cultivation method was special, he had lived for a long time and had seen many things. Therefore, he had a deep understanding of spiritual weapons, but he had never obtained one before. Compared to the sword in Jiang Xi's hand, he felt that Xian Tian's saber was easier to obtain and easier to refine. Thinking of this, the old monk Mo Tuo's figure flashed and disappeared into thin air. What was surprising was that the surrounding cultivators and great demons did not notice his disappearance at all. Chapter 217. Ha, well done. On the other side, Xian Tian cheered loudly when he saw Jiang Xi finish off the flame dragon. He also strengthened his attack to finish off the Silver Wolf King. Although the spiritual saber in his hand had not been refined, he could completely crush the Silver Wolf King in the early stage of Golden Core with his own strength. In fact, the Silver Wolf King could not hold on any longer. Xian Tian did not kill it immediately. He just wanted to use it to sharpen his saber. Oh! The Silver Wolf King was terrified. It wanted to escape but also wanted to beg for mercy. Weren't you quite fierce just now? Xian Tian was not confused by it. Puchi! The saber fell. The saber shadow swept past the Silver Wolf King's neck. The huge wolf head fell to the ground. Golden Core stage, so this is it. Xian Tian expressed the same feeling as Jiang Xi. Whoosh! But at this moment, the skinny old monk quietly appeared behind Xian Tian. He did not say anything. He waved his hand and formed a golden fist, smashing it at Xian Tian's back. This was a sneak attack. Ha, old monks are unreasonable now. Xian Tian turned around and slashed back, not afraid of him at all. The saber shadow and the fist collided. Boom! Boom! The fierce collision of auras swept out, shocking the people hiding in the dark. Who was this old monk? His strength was actually on par with Xian Tian's. He is. A Peacock Country's spirit vessel stage cultivator seemed to remember something. Then he exclaimed, Mo Tuo. A Buddhist monk from 1,000 years ago who later changed to Brahmin and became the high priest of Brahmin. I didn't expect him to still be alive after 1,000 years. Mo Tuo was not an ordinary person. 1,000 years ago, he was a practitioner of ancient yoga. He was very famous in the history of Peacock Country. After the World Qi revival, Peacock Country once dug up the things left by Mo Tuo, so there were still people who knew of his existence. On the other side, Jiang Xi and Xian Tian also heard that person's exclamation. No wonder. This old man doesn't look like a Buddhist. The greed in his eyes is 100 times stronger than a normal person's. Xian Tian's expression was solemn. An old fellow who had lived for 1,000 years would definitely have a lot of tricks up his sleeves. He was definitely not easy to deal with. Give me your saber and I'll spare your life. Mo Tuo stared at Xian Tian's saber. It turns out that after living for 1,000 years, you can become more thick-skinned. Xian Tian learned some of Jiang Xi's kung fu. Humph. Mo Tuo's nasal voice was like a lion's roar, making people feel dizzy. This was a spiritual sense attack. At the same time, he formed a diamond lion seal and punched out. Ha, you're a good whetstone. Xian Tian laughed heartily, full of fighting spirit. The startling saber intent instantly condensed. He had a breakthrough. The two of them exchanged blows once again. The intense scene caused the cultivators and greater demons in the distance to feel apprehensive. Everyone had come for the 10,000-year-old spiritual item, but could they win against such powerhouses? Jiang Xi smiled faintly. He had intended to help, but he did not expect Xian Tian to be able to deal with it alone. Then there was no need to worry. He turned his gaze to the other side. Li Bai was still fighting with the bearded golden core cultivator. Although Li Bai was stronger than her opponent, she could not completely defeat or kill him in a short time. After all, she did not have a spiritual weapon and had not comprehended the true meaning of Tao. She could only rely on her fast sword and speed to prevent her opponent from escaping. Sister Bai, let's end this quickly. Let's kill him together. Jiang Xi's footsteps were light as he flashed to help. Li Baibai did not try to be brave and did not refuse Jiang Xi's help. Dealing with the enemy in front of her was the most important thing. The two of you, there is no enmity between us. I was just coerced by Jesus to attack you. The bearded golden core cultivator from the Sacred Alliance saw Jiang Xi rushing over and his expression changed drastically. He quickly begged for mercy. His words made Jiang Xi's expression change slightly. That kind-looking Pope was also dealing with the three of them behind their backs. Jiang Xi spread out his spiritual sense and scanned the space. Where was Jesus? He was still here a moment ago, but now he had disappeared. I'll kill you first. Jiang Xi's eyes were cold. He did not believe that the bearded man had been coerced. How could a golden core cultivator be coerced? Therefore, no matter what Jesus was plotting, the bearded golden core cultivator from the Western world was an enemy. Enemies deserve to die. If I die, you won't have an easy time either. The bearded man knew that he could not withstand the joint attack of Jiang Xi and Li Baibai. After a roar, the spiritual power in his body circulated rapidly. The surrounding spiritual energy of heaven and earth surged, and his whole body began to inflate like a balloon. He was going to self-detonate. This scene immediately caused the surrounding cultivators and great demons who were engaged in a chaotic battle to retreat. To them, at this stage, the power of a golden core cultivator's self-detonation was absolutely destructive. If they were too close and were affected, they would either die or be injured. You're still not good enough to self-detonate in front of me. Jiang Xi calmed down at this moment. He was not the ancestor of self-detonation, but at least he was someone who had done it many times and had rich experience. In the past, when he used the experience panel to increase his strength, he would often overload his body with energy. That kind of feeling was similar to self-detonation. Therefore, he was very familiar with this process. Moreover, in Taoist GE's inherited memories, there was a description of self-detonation and a detailed explanation of how to deal with it. The simplest method was to let the inflated balloon deflate. However, he could not be too rough, or the deflation would turn into an explosion. Whoosh! The abyss coagulation sword attacked again. The Gale True Intent appeared on the tip of the sword and condensed into the shape of a needle. Then, Jiang Xi's speed reached the extreme. A shadow flashed past, and the long sword was sent out. There was a sizzling sound, it was as if something had deflated. Ah! The bearded man screamed. His inflated body returned to its original state in the blink of an eye. His whole body was covered in blood. His skin was cracked, and his blood vessels were broken. It was only to see Riverward's sword stabbing into his lower dantian. That was where the golden core was, where spiritual energy gathered the most. The needle-like Gale True Intent directly pierced a hole in his lower dantian. Whoosh! Jiang Xi raised his long sword, and the sharp blade pierced through the bearded man's lower jaw. You killed an early-stage golden core cultivator, experience points plus 1000, in just a few minutes. He killed 2 golden core cultivators. Xian Tian also killed a golden core silver wolf king. In addition, the dragon python and black tortoise worked together to kill the golden core demon. In just a short while, the 3 humans and 2 demons from the Daxia kingdom had killed 4 golden core cultivators. And this time, there were only a dozen golden core cultivators who entered the holy city's forbidden area. The specific number was 13. They killed nearly 1/3 of the golden core cultivators. It was extremely brutal. At this time, there were less than 30 cultivators and demons left. Golden core cultivators and demons, including the spirit-nurturing cultivators. However, even though so many had died, everyone was still fighting fiercely. No one was willing to give up or retreat. After all, there was only one 10,000-year-old spiritual root. No one noticed that some strange changes had happened to the corpses of the dead cultivators and demons. The blood in the corpses and the spiritual energy that had not dissipated were seeping into the ground bit by bit. Chapter 2:18. The forbidden area of the holy city, which was less than half a square kilometer, was enveloped by the five-colored barrier. At this moment, the five-colored barrier had already returned to normal. Two figures stood on the tall city wall of the forbidden area of the holy city. One of them was wearing a black robe, while the other was wearing a red robe. They were the founder of the Liberal Alliance, Hermit Yuan Qing, and the Pope of the holy city, Jesus. The spatial array of the forbidden area of the holy city is indeed extraordinary. It can create a barren space of tens of thousands of square kilometers in an area of half a square kilometer. Hermit Yuan Qing praised. If it weren't for his cold voice, he would have left a good impression on others. This is an array created by the sacred Lord 2,000 years ago. Of course, it's extraordinary. Your spirit refinement blood array is much more ordinary compared to this array. Jesus made a few standard movements with a devout expression and asked, 21 spirit nourishment blood spirits and 4 golden core blood spirits. Isn't that enough to activate the spirit refinement blood array? Of course not. In order for this 10,000-year-old spiritual item to mature and bear fruit, at least 1 golden core blood spirit and 5 spirit nourishment blood spirits are needed. Hermit Yuan Qing said calmly. He didn't care about Jesus' belittling. Alas, no matter what, after this battle, my reputation is pretty much ruined. But I did all of this so that the holy light of the Lord can shine on this land again. May the Lord forgive me. Jesus looked at the five-colored barrier in front of him with a sorrowful expression. He. Hermit Yuan Qing didn't hide his sarcasm. Jesus didn't care and prayed with a devout expression. Inside the forbidden area of the holy city, Jiang Xi and Li Baibai had finished off their opponents. Xian Tian and the old monk from the Peacock country, Mo Tua, were still locked in a fierce battle. The spiritual power and aura that erupted from the two caused the spiritual energy in the area to go berserk. Mo Tua was very powerful. His eyes were glowing, and his skinny body seemed to contain endless power. With the help of the golden protective light, he could catch Xian Tian's long sword with his bare hands. An old demon that had lived for thousands of years wasn't easy to deal with. His combat power is close to the late-stage golden core realm. Jiang Xi's eyes flashed as he and Li Baibai looked at each other. They were ready to help. Xian Tian, the bearded golden core cultivator from the Holy Alliance, had revealed an important piece of information. There was something wrong with Jesus. Therefore, he had to end the battle quickly and seize the 10,000-year-old spiritual root before retreating. The two of them rushed towards the old monk Mo Tua. But at this moment, an invisible palm print attacked Jiang Xi. The palm print emitted a sinister aura, giving people a chill that came from their souls. Danger! Jiang Xi's face suddenly changed, and all the hairs on his body trembled. He hurriedly dodged. However, he discovered that the speed of the invisible palm print seemed to have locked onto him. No matter how he dodged, the palm print chased after him relentlessly. Even though he had executed the true intent of Gale with all his might and his speed had reached the pinnacle, he was still unable to shake off the pursuit of the palm print. The speed of the palm print had surpassed the middle gold core stage. This invisible palm print is very familiar. It seems to be something hidden under the ancestral hall of the Ma family. This thought flashed through Jiang Xi's mind. The formless palm print, along with a terrifying and eerie aura, instantly exploded and abruptly struck Jiang Xi's back. Bang! A thunderous sound, like a heavy hammer hitting a drum, caused the souls of all the cultivators and great demons in this space to tremble. Their spiritual senses seemed to have suffered a heavy blow. Jiang Xi's entire body was sent flying. Like a meteor, he instantly disappeared into the depths of the forbidden space. So cold. His entire body was in intense pain and cold. The bone-piercing chill made his body feel as if it was about to freeze. The powerful force of the palm print was blocked by him. It was not his body that blocked it, but the animal skin box that he had been carrying, which happened to help him block the blow. However, he was still injured by the aftershock of the explosion of the invisible palm print. The eerie aura also entered his body. This is the strength of a late gold core stage. Could it be the Ma family's patriarch? He is here too. Jiang Xi quickly controlled his body and circulated his spiritual power, quickly dispelling the eerie aura all over his body at the same time. Faces flashed through his mind. Almost instantly, he recalled that at the entrance of the holy city's forbidden area, there was a middle-aged man with a pale and stiff face. That person also had the face of the great Xia kingdom. This invisible palm print and eerie aura are exactly the same as what I encountered in the Ma family. It must be the Ma family's patriarch. The fourth awakening of spiritual power has truly awakened him. Jiang Xi understood all this. Rustle, that terrifying eerie aura filled the air, and the chilly wind blew. That middle-aged man with a pale and stiff face had caught up to him. You must die today for severing my bloodline. His tone was emotionless. It was neither sad nor happy, just like a corpse. This sentence made Jiang Xi confirm that this person was the Ma family's patriarch. Moreover, the Ma family's patriarch was no longer human. The Ma family's inheritance was the corpse-driving lineage. The Ma family's patriarch in front of him had cultivated himself into a zombie. The aura emitted from his body was not the eerie aura of the ghosts in the Fengdu's secret realm, but the aura of a corpse. Late-stage gold core stage. Jiang Xi took a deep breath. No matter what the Ma family's patriarch was, he was the strongest opponent he had encountered so far. He wanted to run, but this space was tens of thousands of kilometers in size. There was nowhere to run. He could only fight. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Xi's body was covered with a thin layer of purple protective light. With a swoosh, the profound coagulation sword condensed a layer of sword shadow. The sword light flickered, and the wind howled. Sword intent. Gale intent. He was in his strongest state. Humph. The Ma family's patriarch waved his hand and sent out another formless palm print. After the eerie aura spread out, it seemed to be faintly compatible with something in this space. A person who should have died long ago. I want to see how powerful you are. Jiang Xi maintained his calm. Whoosh, the profound coagulation sword slashed out continuously. The huge sword light seemed to be able to cut through space as it welcomed the formless palm print at the same time. His figure flickered and arrived in front of the Ma family's patriarch. The profound coagulation sword, which was a low-grade spiritual artifact, carried the sword intense sword shadow and pierced out at lightning speed. Chi! When it pierced the Ma family's patriarch's body, it actually produced a metallic sound. It only pierced a small wound that was an inch deep. He obviously doesn't have the protective light, but his body's defense is so strong. How did this old man train? Jiang Xi was shocked. You must die today if you cut off my bloodline. The Ma family's patriarch repeated his words in a mechanical manner. He moved his feet and sent another palm strike towards Jiang Xi. Woo woo woo. For a moment, the wind howled like a ghost. The wind blew violently, and corpse chi filled the air. I don't believe it. Jiang Xi was ruthless. He pushed his speed to the extreme and circled around the Ma family's patriarch rapidly. The gale intent and sword intense Daoist rhyme surged wildly in the surroundings. Accompanied by surging spiritual energy, he continuously struck out with his sword. You must die today if you cut off my bloodline. The Ma family's patriarch continued to repeat his words in a mechanical manner and sent out a series of powerful palm prints. Ding ding ding, Riverward had truly unleashed his full strength. Even if a mid-stage golden core cultivator were to come, they would be severely injured or even killed by the sword beams and sword shadows. But when it landed on the Ma family's patriarch, it only caused light injuries. The only thing that made Jiang Xi heave a sigh of relief was that this zombie also had a weakness. His agility is very poor, and his movements are very stiff. Only his straight line speed is faster than me. Chapter 219. When Jiang Xi and the Ma family patriarch were fighting in the depths of the forbidden space. Just now, Li Baibai had wanted to go over and help, but she was quickly stopped by a golden core stage demon from the Western world and was unable to get away. On the other side, Xian Tian was still fighting with the old monk Mo Tua from the Peacock country. Both of them were equally matched, and both of them were close to the golden core realm. The battle in these two places was extremely intense. The cultivators and demons who were still alive were shocked, and no one dared to approach. Other than Xian Tian and Li Baibai, the other two demons from the Great Xia Kingdom, the Dragon Python and the Black Tortoise, were also attacking a golden core cultivator from the Western world. Very quickly, the golden core stage cultivator let out a roar of grief and indignation as he died. Blood splattered on the ground and seeped into the ground. Spiritual power was also diffusing. Another golden core cultivator had died. The humans and demons of the Great Xia Kingdom were extremely cruel. Outside the five-colored barrier, after the golden core cultivator from the Western world died, the Yuan Qing Shan cultivators and Hessa's eyes lit up. They had gathered all the blood spirits. For the holy light of the Lord, let's begin. Holy light faintly appeared on Hessa's face. It was incomparably sacred. The Yuan Qing Shan cultivators did not laugh this time. Instead, they solemnly formed hand seals. In less than a breath, they formed thousands of hand seals and struck the five-colored barrier. Spirit refinement blood formation, rise. In an instant, wisps of blood-red light began to emerge from the five-colored barrier and became denser. From the outside, the forbidden space of the holy city seemed to have turned into a bloody purgatory. In the forbidden space, there were less than 20 cultivators and great demons left, but everyone was still fighting until their heads bled. They would not stop until one of them was dead. Why did the sky turn red? Someone noticed that the sky in the forbidden space had changed color. What is that? Some demons also saw blood-red snakes crawling out from the ground and wandering in this space. There were more than 30 of them. With such an unforeseen event, the cultivators and demons simultaneously slowed down their attacks and looked at these changes in bewilderment. At this moment, a blood-red snake swung its tail and slithered into the body of a demon. Whoosh, that spirit-nurturing stage demon, which was nearly 100 meters tall, seemed to have withered. In an instant, it turned into a bag of bones. It was as if all the essence of his flesh and blood had been devoured by the blood-colored snake. As for the blood-red snake that had eaten its fill, it only swayed a little before splitting into two. Go away, go away. A spirit-gathering cultivator saw a blood-red snake slithering towards him, and he threw out a punch in horror. However, the bloody long snake seemed to be immune to all attacks. It directly passed through the fist print and entangled the spirit-gathering cultivator. In just a breath's time, a living person had turned into a bag of bones. He couldn't be more dead. Then, another blood-red snake appeared. Such a strange scene caused the remaining cultivators and greater demons to feel fear and panic. His attacks were useless. Could it be that he could only wait for death? Bye-bye, quickly go find Jiang Xi. Xian Tian stopped fighting with the old monk Mo Tua and flew towards Li Baibai. Mo Tua didn't stop him because the old monk of the Peacock country also sensed the danger and stared at the blood-red snakes with a grim expression. The gold core stage demon who was fighting with Li Baibai saw Xian Tian coming over and was suddenly scared and quickly retreated. After the two of them met, they hurriedly flew into the depths of the space. They were worried that Jiang Xi would encounter the same situation. The speed of the gold core stage was very fast, and those blood-red snakes seemed to be unable to catch up with them. Only 5 of the larger blood-colored snakes were barely able to catch up to him. At the same time, the battle between Jiang Xi and the Ma family's ancestor had reached a stalemate. In a short period of time, no one could completely defeat the other, let alone kill the other. When these changes occurred in the forbidden space, Jiang Xi's face changed greatly. He recognized the origin of this array at a glance. Spirit Refining Blood Array. It's really crazy. The Spirit Refining Blood Array refined the flesh, soul, spiritual power, and spiritual sense. In other words, if one died in the Spirit Refining Blood Array, they would never be reincarnated. Although he guessed that Jesus might be doing something behind the scenes, he didn't expect that this seemingly kind old man would be so vicious and merciless. At this time, a few blood-red snakes swam over from afar at a very fast speed. "Hey, let's stop here. Can we fight again next time?" Jiang Xi hurriedly said to the Ma family's ancestor. Although the Ma family's ancestor's movements were stiff, he also stopped at this time. Obviously, he also sensed that something was wrong. "Just you wait." The Ma family's ancestor said these two words and disappeared with a whoosh. His straight-line speed surpassed Jiang Xi's. Jiang Xi heaved a sigh of relief. Now that the Ma family's ancestor had left, he could focus on dealing with the threat of the Spirit Refining Blood Array. Fortunately, in Taoist GE's inherited memories, there were also evil arrays like the Spirit Refining Blood Array. When he was sorting out this part of the inheritance, he also studied it for a while because he was interested. Therefore, he was very clear about the power of this array. Normal attacks couldn't stop those blood-red snakes at all. Even if a golden core stage cultivator was entangled, he would still die. Dig underground. Once underground, the blood-red snakes couldn't attack. This was the Spirit Refining Blood Array's weakness that few people knew about. Oh right. Big brother and sister Bai are still at the place where they were fighting just now. Jiang Xi's expression changed. Xian Tian and Li Bai didn't know about this. If they were entangled by the blood-red snakes, it would be over. He hurriedly used his tactical communications watch to send a message to the two of them, reminding them that they would be fine if they dug underground. Soon, the blood-red snakes that swam over just now were already in front of him. Jiang Xi didn't hesitate. The profound gaze sword condensed a layer of sword shadow and dug directly into the ground. His body quickly sank into the ground. As for the blood-red snakes, they seemed to have lost their target and swam back to the place where they were fighting just now, looking for a new target. On the other side, Xian Tian and Li Bai received Jiang Xi's message at the same time. They looked at each other and didn't hesitate. They believed in Jiang Xi's words. Bang bang. The two of them attacked the ground and blasted a hole in the ground with their weapons. Then, they drilled into it. With their attacks, they could dig out a tunnel in the blink of an eye. After their bodies sank into the ground, their spiritual senses discovered that the blood-red snakes had stopped chasing them. Jiang Xi didn't look for Xian Tian and Li Bai because he had his own plans. Now that everyone is busy avoiding the blood-red snakes, they definitely won't have time to care about the 10,000-year-old spiritual root. This is my chance. Also, if I can get a few blood spirit crystals, it'll be a huge gain. He used the profound gaze sword as a drill and drilled forward. He was heading toward the center of this space, where the withered tree was. The 10,000-year-old spiritual root. Once he got it, he could find a secret realm with abundant spiritual chi and plant it there, waiting for it to blossom and bear fruit. As for the blood spirit crystals, they were the product of the Spirit Refining Blood Array. If he was lucky enough to get a few, then the harvest of this trip to the holy city would far exceed his original expectations. Chapter 220. As Jiang Xi drilled into the ground, information about spirit crystals appeared in his mind. When the spirit chi of heaven and earth condensed to a certain extent, it would produce an item called spirit crystal. Spirit crystals contained a huge amount of spirit chi and were very valuable. In the universe, they were not only used as currency. They were also necessary for cultivators to refine pills, refine weapons, set up formations, and other daily activities. In addition, the experts or cultivators with good backgrounds in the universe usually absorbed the spirit chi in spirit crystals to carry out their daily cultivation. Spirit crystals were very valuable, but they were very rare. Therefore, evil cultivators created evil formations like the spirit refinement blood formation. Using a cultivator's flesh, soul, spirit chi, and spiritual sense as raw materials, the spirit refinement blood formation would eventually refine blood spirit crystals. Among them, refining a cultivator at the spirit gathering stage could give him an inferior blood spirit crystal. Using a golden core cultivator as raw materials would yield a low-grade blood spirit crystal. Because refining gathered the energy of a cultivator's entire body, blood spirit crystals had a similar effect as spirit crystals and also contained a large amount of spirit chi. Refining blood spirit crystals was strictly forbidden by the Tao Alliance in the universe, but the Tao Alliance didn't care. However, this was Earth, an abandoned and forgotten place. It would be hard for anyone to punish Jesus for his insane behavior. Of course, Jiang Xi also understood that he was not a saint and could not enforce justice on behalf of the heavens. At most, he would help the dead humans and demons teach Jesus a lesson for the sake of the blood spirit crystals. At this moment, Jiang Xi's spiritual sense discovered that he was about to reach his destination. Although his drilling speed was not as fast as on the ground, it was only relatively speaking. In just 1 minute, he had drilled more than 30 kilometers. Whoosh! Suddenly, the deep condensation sword lost its resistance. Jiang Xi was shocked. In the next moment, he drilled out of the ground. He stood in the air and scanned with his spiritual sense. He found that he did not return to the ground but appeared in a space with a diameter of about 3 meters. His spiritual sense did not discover this place just now. Another formation space. Jiang Xi shook his head. This place was emitting a fishy smell of soil, which meant that he was still underground. Moreover, it happened to be right below the 10,000-year-old Fei, where someone had specially dug a cave. This was because he could see hundreds of roots hanging down from the soil above the cave. Among them, dozens of roots were covered in blood-red light, as if something was about to condense. Those should be the roots of the 10,000-year-old spiritual creature. I'm lucky that the blood spirit crystal hasn't formed yet. Looks like I'll have to wait a little longer. Jiang Xi frowned slightly, then his brows relaxed. This cave has blocked the detection of soul sense. Although I can't detect the situation outside, the possibility of being discovered is also very small. Let's wait here for the blood spirit crystal to take shape. He had already told Xian Tian and Li Bai the way to avoid danger. There was no need to worry about them. They just had to wait here. If he could get the blood spiritual crystal, his harvest would far exceed his expectations. In Jiang Xi's eyes, the blood spirit crystal was even more important than a 10,000-year-old spiritual root. It was still unknown how long it would take for a 10,000-year-old spiritual root to bloom and bear fruit. As for the blood spirit crystal, he could directly use it for cultivation and setting up arrays. Especially for setting up arrays. Ever since he had received Taoist Ji's inheritance and made the Tao oath to cheat his disciple, Jiang Xi knew that he would definitely step into the starry sky one day. The problem was, how? The only method he knew now was the one Taoist Gu had told him, which was to go through the interstellar transmission array on the first moon. Then, there was a new problem. How could he go to the first moon? First of all, the method of flying up was completely unfeasible. Even those in the Golden Core realm did not have the strength to fly directly to the moon. Second, he definitely could not go to the Bright Heaven Palace in the Fengdu mystic realm. Although there was a transmission array to the first moon, there was also a terrifying tree spirit that was at least in the nascent soul realm. It was completely luck that he was able to escape last time. He would not do this kind of thing that relied on luck, and the success rate was almost zero for a second time. According to Jiang Xi's original idea, he would cooperate with the Great Xia Kingdom to launch a spaceship to the moon and use the power of technology to land on the first moon. However, it was very risky and would expose that he had gone deep into the starry sky. At this stage, he did not want the people on Earth to know this. With the blood spirit crystal, everything will be easy. Jiang Xi's eyes lit up. Daoist Gu was an expert in array formations. In his inherited memories, array formations occupied a very important part of it. Of course, there would be an inheritance related to the transmission array. My cheap master has reached the level where he can let the array refine the spiritual chi of heaven and earth on its own. I can't do this. However, I can use the blood spirit crystal to provide the energy source for the operation of the array. In this way, I can set up some small transmission arrays. In fact, Jiang Xi had the idea of setting up his own transmission array before, but he could not find the spiritual crystal. Because the current concentration of spiritual chi of heaven and earth did not meet the conditions for the natural formation of spiritual crystals. This time, it was really a case of wearing out iron shoes in a fruitless search, only to find it by chance without any effort. Jiang Xi waited quietly underground, but in the forbidden space, there was a panic. Those cultivators and great demons who survived the chaotic battle just now were desperately avoiding the pursuit of the blood-colored long snakes. Especially the 5 larger blood-colored long snakes. They were the fastest and could easily catch up with cultivators of the spirit nurture stage. However, the area of this space was tens of thousands of square kilometers. After these people and demons fled in all directions, the blood-colored long snakes could not devour them all in a short time. There were also people who could escape the pursuit of the blood-colored long snakes with just speed. The ancestral patriarch of the Ma family and the old monk of the Peacock country, Mo Tua, were at the late-stage golden core stage and were close to it. Even the 5 larger blood-colored long snakes could not catch up with them. In addition, the dragon python and the black tortoise were also exceptions. The 2 great demons relied on their strong physiques to reach the late-stage golden core stage. Outside the forbidden space, Hessus saw that the color of blood was getting thicker and thicker inside the colorful barrier. His tense face finally relaxed. Soon, the blood spirit crystal will be completely condensed in half an hour at most. When the 10,000-year-old spiritual crystal blooms and bears fruit, we don't have to worry about alarming the beings below. What are you afraid of? With the current concentration of spiritual chi of heaven and earth, beings above the golden core stage can't be awakened yet. The man of the Yuan Qing sect laughed eerily. What do you know? The abyss hell under the forbidden space of the sacred city was suppressed by the sacred lord at the cost of his own life 2,000 years ago. Once the demons in the abyss hell are released, the entire earth will be destroyed. Hessus snorted. The man of the Yuan Qing sect shook his head and did not hide the disdain on his face. The style of the Western world was to exaggerate the facts. Chapter 221. As time passed, there were less and less cultivators and great demons left in the forbidden space. There were less than 10 of them left. Jiang Xi stood in the air below the 10,000-year-old spiritual item. He looked up and saw that the blood-red light on the roots had become even more condensed. The spirit chi of heaven and earth in the cave had also become much denser. At this rate, I'll have to wait for about half an hour. Jiang Xi had an estimate in his heart. He didn't refine the spirit chi in the cave. If he absorbed too much and the blood spirit crystal couldn't form, then the loss would outweigh the gain. Suddenly, Jiang Xi's eyes caught a glimpse of a flash of cold light at the bottom of the cave. The cave was extremely dark. Only the blood-red light on the 10,000-year-old spiritual item's roots emitted a little light. That cold light attracted his attention. He carefully scanned the area below with his spiritual sense. Nothing. Jiang Xi looked puzzled. When he entered the cave just now, the first thing he did was to use his spiritual sense to carefully investigate the situation here. However, after gaining spiritual sense, he neglected to use his eyes to observe the surroundings. Jiang Xi became interested and turned on the virtual light of his tactical communications watch. The cave, which was about 3 meters in diameter, suddenly became much brighter. That's a ceiling formation. He saw that the ground below the cave was engraved with complicated symbols and patterns. They looked very ancient. Jiang Xi suppressed the shock in his heart and locked his eyes on the center of the formation below. At the center of the formation, where the symbols and patterns converged, a blue dagger was inserted about an inch deep. The cold light just now came from the dagger. It actually used a spiritual item as the formation base. What's sealed below? Jiang Xi remained cautious. He carefully observed the surroundings with his eyes. After confirming that there were no other dangers, he flew down. He walked up to the dagger and carefully observed it for a moment, but he didn't find anything unusual. This blue dagger faintly emits a gloomy aura. After observing this, Jiang Xi understood. No wonder at the very beginning, he felt that the holy light emitted by the withered tree revealed a gloomy aura. The sinister aura was emitted by the dagger. This spiritual dagger is a little strange. I can't tell what grade it is just by looking at it. Jiang Xi shook his head, stretched out his hand, and decisively grabbed the handle of the dagger. No matter what grade it was, he definitely wouldn't let go of such a free opportunity. Jiang Dudu cultivates the Tao of assassination, so he could bring it back for her to use. As for whether there would be any danger after pulling it out, Jiang Xi had already confirmed it over and over again. There shouldn't be any major problems. Even if there was really something sealed beneath the dagger in the formation, it should have died after several thousand years. Even his cheap master, Taoist Gu, could not survive for 10,000 years without the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He didn't believe that there was any existence in the Western world's inheritance that could survive the seal for thousands of years. Ding! Jiang Xi pulled out a blue dagger that was about a foot long. Fuck! In the next moment, Jiang Xi's expression changed drastically. Because the moment he pulled out the dagger, there was a shocking gloomy aura that followed the dagger from the depths of the ground. He hurriedly wanted to put the dagger back in its original position. But he failed. Run! Jiang Xi couldn't even wait for the blood spirit crystals. He used the Gale True Intent and was about to escape. In the next moment, the situation changed again. Jiang Xi's movements suddenly stopped, and the wind around him also calmed down. He turned around in surprise and looked at the place where the dagger was inserted. There were wisps of blue energy gushing out. The aura it emitted was extremely cold, but it was very pure and didn't feel gloomy. Baleful Yin energy. Jiang Xi's eyes widened. This was really an unexpected surprise. He originally thought that a terrifying existence would emerge from the ground, but he didn't expect it to be baleful Yin energy. This was a good thing. In simple words, baleful Yin energy could help a cultivator increase the speed of refining spirit power. I used more than 3 months to complete 10 refinements of the 100 refinements technique. To complete the 100 refinements and form the golden core, I still need more than 2 years. But with the baleful Yin energy, this time can be greatly shortened. Jiang Xi was pleasantly surprised. Whoosh, his figure flashed, and he arrived above the baleful Yin energy. Then, he sat cross-legged in the air. 100 refinements technique. Suddenly, wisps of blue baleful Yin energy seemed to be attracted and drilled into Jiang Xi's body from below. His spiritual sense was like a hammer, and it began to refine the spirit power in his body. Originally, he could only complete 100 refinements a day. But now, wisps of baleful Yin energy were displaying a magical effect. The speed of refining spirit power increased sharply, and it was almost 10 refinements per second. It was equivalent to completing 1 refinement in 2 minutes. He could complete the remaining 90 refinements in about 3 hours. This speed is still not enough. The blood spirit crystals will be formed in half an hour. I can't wait too long. However, Jiang Xi was not satisfied. He wanted to be faster. He waved a sword light and hit the hole below that was spewing baleful Yin energy. The hole became bigger, and the amount of baleful Yin energy erupted increased several times. From the thickness of a hair, it became as thick as a chopstick and surged into Jiang Xi's body. 100 Refinements Technique. Dang dang dang. In Jiang Xi's mind, there seemed to be a rapid knocking sound. 60 refinements per second. The speed of refining spirit power was increasing rapidly. 100 refinements, 1,000 refinements, 10,000 refinements, 20,000 refinements, 30,000 refinements, 1,000 refinements for 1 refinement. In less than 10 minutes, he had completed 30 refinements. Too cool. Too extravagant. While Jiang Xi was running the 100 refinements technique, he was exclaiming in his heart. In the universe, a strand of baleful yin energy as thick as a hair could make spirit-nurturing cultivators fight to the death. A strand of baleful yin energy as thick as a chopstick could make golden core cultivators go crazy. As for a strand of baleful yin energy as thick as a thumb, that was something that only nascent soul cultivators dared to dream of, but now, he was sitting on a fountain of baleful yin energy. Suck, suck, suck. Refine, refine, refine. Without stopping, he absorbed the baleful yin energy that was like a fountain. More than 20 minutes later. Dang! With the last hammer sound in his mind, Jiang Xi opened his eyes. His face was full of desire. 100,000 refinements, the 100 refinements technique was completed. After the transformation of spirit power, the next step was to form the golden core. Forming the golden core was a major event that must be treated with caution. He definitely could not try it here. The blood spirit crystal is about to condense. I should wait until I go back to form the golden core. However, even if he had not really reached the golden core stage, with the spirit power after the 100 refinements, he was now no weaker than the late-stage golden core stage. Jiang Xi felt the powerful spirit power in his body and was full of confidence. If he met the Ma family's patriarch again, he could easily break through his abnormal defense. Chapter 222. At this time, the evil yin force below was still erupting upward, but the amount began to decrease sharply. From the looks of it, there was only so much baleful yin energy underground. It will be finished in 3 minutes at most. Unfortunately, there is no container to store evil yin force. Otherwise, it will be a great profit. The storage ring couldn't store spiritual qi, evil yin force and other energy bodies. Jiang Xi shook his head and chuckled. He couldn't be too greedy. The amount of baleful yin energy that he had absorbed and refined was something that many powerful cultivators might not be able to gather in their entire lives. The harvest this time is already very big. 3 minutes later, the blue baleful yin energy stopped erupting, and its aura disappeared completely. To Jiang Xi's surprise, the seal on the ground below the cave seemed to have completed its mission. The complicated symbols and patterns of the array were quickly dissipating. Is the seal going to be completely lifted? In the bloody forbidden space. After more than 20 minutes, there were only 2 cultivators and a big monster left among the spirit-gathering stage cultivators who were still alive. Another gold core stage cultivator died. Other gold core stage monsters such as the dragon python and the black tortoise were not entangled by the bloody snakes. At this time, they all understood that the bloody snakes were transformed by the dead people and monsters just now. As for why such a change happened, they all had the same answer. They also had the same answer. It was definitely related to Pope Jesus of the Holy City. Perhaps, this matter was Jesus's conspiracy from the beginning to the end. Some people wanted to go out, but the colorful barrier had already returned to its original state. At that time, the colorful barrier could only be broken by the combined strength of all the people and monsters. They couldn't break it at all and couldn't go out. The dragon python and the black tortoise had been circling in this space countless times, avoiding the pursuit of the bloody snakes. Little dragon, do you have any new discoveries? The black tortoise asked through its soul sense. No. Uncle Black, you said that we would be safe if we followed the Xian Tian. But they have disappeared for so long, and we have been looking for them so many times. Could they have been swallowed by the bloody snakes? The dragon python was a little anxious. Calm down. This just means that they must have found a way to escape. Now, as long as we find them, we can escape from our current predicament. The black tortoise was very calm. Roar. The dragon python was very irritable. It roared in anger and an enormous aura erupted, causing the entire space to tremble. The black tortoise was a little surprised. He noticed this. At this moment, the five-colored barrier that enveloped this space began to shake violently. Outside the forbidden space. Although he couldn't see the exact situation inside the forbidden area, he was able to make a rough guess based on the state of the spirit refinement blood formation. My luck is not bad. The seal of the abyss of hell is not affected. Hessus felt more and more relaxed. It seemed that the blood spirit crystal was about to take shape. At that time, the 10,000-year-old spiritual item would be able to absorb the massive amount of spiritual energy from the blood spirit crystal and mature, bloom, and bear fruit in an extremely short period of time. Hermit Yuan Qing was also filled with anticipation. With the 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit, his cultivation level would break through again. Both of them were waiting for the 10,000-year-old phase to mature. Suddenly, the five-colored barrier shook as if its foundation was unstable and was about to break. Not good. Hermit Yuan Qing and Hessus's expressions changed drastically. There was a problem with the spatial array of the forbidden area. Roar. What kind of bullshit barrier is this? How dare you trap me, the dragon python? Before they could do anything, two enormous figures broke through the violently shaking five-colored barrier. They were the dragon python and the black tortoise. Roar. The two demons roared in unison when they saw Hermit Yuan Qing and Hessus. At this moment, they were even more certain that this was Hessus's scheme. Despicable humans. The dragon python roared angrily. Dark clouds rolled violently and rushed toward the two standing in the air. The black tortoise followed closely behind. Spiritual energy surged, and black rain poured down immediately. Hermit Yuan Qing remained unmoved as if victory was already in his grasp. However, Hessus moved. He opened his arms, and his entire body emitted a blinding holy light. Holy light punishment. As he shouted, countless buildings in the entire holy city released rays of holy light in an instant. The holy light gathered in the air to form thousands upon thousands of spears of holy light with astonishing momentum. Go! All the holy light spears pierced toward the dragon python and the black tortoise. Dragon, dragon, retreat! The black tortoise roared. Its figure flashed and rushed directly in front of the dragon python. Its body instantly became 100 times larger, and its tortoise shell faced the holy light spears. Boom! Boom! A violent explosion occurred in the sky above the holy city. The terrifying power instantly spread throughout the entire holy city. Even the entire Western world was affected by the explosion. This continent was trembling as if there was an earthquake. In the dazzling light, a few figures could be vaguely seen flying out of the forbidden area. 3 of them were in the spirit-nurturing realm. They were directly shattered by the impact of the explosion and turned into ashes. They escaped from the spirit refinement blood array, but they did not escape this calamity. As for the other 2 figures, they disappeared at an extremely fast speed, forcefully withstanding the power of the holy light explosion. The 2 who escaped were the Ma family's patriarch and the Peacock country's old monk, Mo Tua. Uncle Black. The dragon python was full of worry. The holy light spears were too powerful. Even he did not have the confidence to withstand them. Let's go. The black tortoise roared and flew out of the dazzling holy light. Its huge body once again returned to its original size, but its aura was clearly much weaker. There were densely packed white marks on the black tortoise shell as if it had been burned by high temperature. Even with the extremely strong defense of the tortoise shell, it was still injured. The 2 great demons used their fastest speed and left with a roar. The holy light dissipated. Hessus did not chase after the two great demons, because he could only use such powerful attacks in the Holy City. After leaving the Holy City, he was an ordinary early-stage golden core cultivator. Ignore them. Let's see if the 10,000-year-old spiritual item was affected. Hermit Yuan Qing's expression was serious. At this moment, the Holy City's Forbidden Area's formation had been broken. What was revealed was the original ancient Forbidden Area that was less than half a square kilometer. The Forbidden Area was still shrouded in thick fog, and it was no different from before. The two flew down and arrived at the center of the Forbidden Area. After seeing the 10,000-year-old spiritual item situation, they heaved a sigh of relief. The 10,000-year-old spiritual item that looked like a withered tree had an extra leaf. It was obvious that the spirit refinement blood array was not affected. The 10,000-year-old spiritual item was beginning to recover and grow. In the cave directly below the withered tree. When the symbols and patterns of the ceiling formation dissipated, Jiang Xi guessed that it was related to the disappearance of the yin energy. However, he was not in the mood to pay attention to this because the blood-colored light on the roots above the cave had already gathered to the size of a fist and was about to take shape. At this moment, the blood-colored light suddenly brightened and then shrunk into a ball. When the light dissipated, only white crystals with blood-colored patterns were left. The blood spirit crystal was formed. Chapter 223. Almost at the same time, the roots started to absorb the spiritual qi from the blood spirit crystals. The absorption speed was very fast. He had to get the blood spirit crystals as soon as possible. Whoosh! Riverward flashed and directly flew in front of those roots. His hands were like a phantom. In an instant, all the blood spirit crystals were picked up by him. 6 inferior grade blood spirit crystals and 43 inferior grade blood spirit crystals. These blood spirit crystals represented the lives of 49 cultivators and big demons. 6 of them were in the golden core realm and 43 of them were in the spirit nourishment realm. Jiang Xi mourned for them and then put the blood spirit crystals into his storage ring. Although the 10,000-year-old spiritual root could bear fruit after absorbing the spiritual qi from the blood spirit crystals, it was still not enough. In his eyes, the blood spirit crystals were more important than the fruits of the 10,000-year-old spiritual root. Anyway, when I go back and plant them in the Jade Lake mystic realm, they will also bear fruit. Jiang Xi thought as he prepared to go back to the surface to dig up the 10,000-year-old spiritual root. The blood spirit crystals had taken shape, which meant that the spirit refinement blood array had completed the final refinement. The blood-red snakes had disappeared. There would be no danger on the surface now. In front of the withered tree, the smiles of Yuan Qingshan and Hessus froze. The second leaf that had just sprouted quickly withered and withered before it could even turn into a sparkling green. Why? The blood-red snakes have disappeared. Didn't the blood spirit crystals take shape? Yuan Qingshan could not keep calm. He had learned about the spirit refinement blood array from an ancient book. This was his first time trying to set it up. Underground. There is a problem with the underground cave. Someone went in. Hessus looked ferocious. It was impossible to tell that he was a kind old man. He was the Pope of the sacred city. Naturally, he knew that there was a 2,000-year-old cave under the Forbidden Area. That was what he had been worried about. He was worried that using the spirit refinement blood array to mature the 10,000-year-old spiritual root would affect the seal in the cave. He had thought that the cave could block spiritual senses and would not be discovered. He did not expect that the cave's ability to block spiritual senses would fail. Someone had sneaked in. Jiang Xi. Yuan Qingshan scanned the cave with his spiritual senses and discovered the identity of the person in the cave. He emitted a gloomy aura and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Bang! A hole was blasted in the ground, and a figure soared into the sky. Shameless thief! How dare you destroy the forbidden area of our holy city? Jesus roared. This situation stunned Jiang Xi for a moment, but he reacted quickly. Instantly, he discovered that the spatial array of the holy city's forbidden area had been broken. Was the space array and the ceiling array in the cave one and the same? Jiang Xie, die. Shameless thief, die. Hessus and Hermit Yuan Qing attacked at the same time. The sacred fist print and the cold palm print blasted towards Jiang Xie. Ha, I'm shameless. Jiang Xie was not afraid at all. With a wave of his hand, he sent out two palms. The surging spiritual energy condensed into a large palm print, directly scattering the attacks of the two. Then, he sneered, in my opinion, the dignified Pope of the Holy City is a shameless person who secretly colluded with the founder of the Liberal Alliance. Who knows how many shady deals he has done? Of course, he could recognize the black-robed Hermit Yuan Qing. You deserve to die. Hessus flew into a rage out of humiliation. Bam! Bam! At this moment, under the tall walls of the holy city's forbidden area, two figures broke through the ground and rushed out. They were Xian Tian and Li Baibai. After the two of them came out, they wanted to help Jiang Xie. They're actually not dead. Hessus and Hermit Yuan Qing's expressions changed again. Big brother, sister Baibai, leave this to me. You two go and dig out the 10,000-year-old spiritual root. Jiang Xie laughed. Ha, then I won't fight with you. Xian Tian also laughed loudly. He vaguely sensed that Jiang Xi's strength had probably increased again. Then, together with Li Baibai, he rushed towards the withered tree. Don't even think about it. Hessus was furious. Hermit Yuan Qing also moved to stop them. Eerie ghost chi filled the forbidden area of the holy city. Holy light punishment. Hessus spread his arms again, and his body emitted a blinding holy light. At the same time, the buildings in the holy city also released rays of holy light, which began to condense into holy light spears. Finally, there seemed to be a layer of light above the holy city. Under the light, thousands of holy light spears appeared. This is... Jiang Xie was a little surprised. Even a late-stage golden core cultivator might not be able to withstand so many holy light spears. It was no wonder that when he first approached the holy city, he felt an inexplicable threat above the city. It turned out that the threat came from these holy light spears. Swoosh! Swoosh! The holy light spears shot towards Jiang Xie like a rain of arrows. If it was before, I might have turned around and left, but now, Jiang Xi's expression was calm. He channeled his spiritual power, and a purple protective light that was 10 times thicker suddenly appeared. After refining his spiritual power 100 times, his strength had increased by a large level. True sword intent. A shocking sword shadow immediately condensed on the deep freeze sword's blade, and an inexplicable Taoist rhyme flowed. Disperse! Jiang Xie shouted softly. The wind circled around him, and his body took the initiative to meet the attack like lightning. At the same time, the sword shadow danced and turned into a sword curtain, whistling as it collided with the holy light spears. Boom! Boom! An astonishing explosion occurred, even more violent than that of the black tortoise. That was because the black tortoise used its turtle shell to defend, and Jiang Xie used a powerful attack to meet force with force. The shock wave produced by the explosion instantly swept across the entire continent where the Western world was located. There was even a huge tsunami in the Mediterranean Sea not far from here. The satellites of the 5 major countries were monitoring this place, but the collision was too powerful, and the shock wave affected the satellite signals. The satellites could not see the situation here clearly, and could only capture a dazzling holy light and countless shocking sword shadows. That's all you got. After the holy light dissipated and everything calmed down, Jiang Xi's indifferent voice sounded in the sky. Hessus's expression changed, and it was very ugly. He did not expect that other than the black tortoise, there would be someone who could block the attack of the holy light punishment. And Jiang Xie was obviously stronger than the black tortoise. Let's see how many times you can block it. Hessis's expression was fierce. Holy light punishment. He unleashed the same attack again. Jiang Xi, an ultimate move that did not consume mana and had no limit to the number of uses. This was unexpected. Jiang Xi knew that no matter how strong he was, there was a limit to his strength. After all, strictly speaking, he was only a cultivator at the late stage of spirit nurture. A wise man submits to circumstances. It was time to leave after obtaining the benefits. Big brother, sister bye-bye, hurry up, it's time to retreat. Jiang Xi shouted. In the holy city's forbidden area, the Xian Tian was dealing with the Yuanqing hermit, and Li Baibai was digging out the 10,000-year-old spiritual root. At this moment, Li Baibai finally dug out the complete 10,000-year-old spiritual root. Let's go. She calmly flew up and flew out of the holy city. Ha, thank you for your hospitality. The Xian Tian repelled the Yuanqing hermit with one slash. He did not linger and flew away. Goodbye, both of you. Jiang Xi saw that it was about time, and he waved with a smile. When he left, he instantly unleashed hundreds of sword shadows, preventing Hessis and the Yuanqing hermit from chasing after him. Chapter 224. It was said that it would only take half a day, and it really took half a day. They went out at 8:00 in the morning and came back at 12:00 at noon. Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were all very satisfied with the harvest of this trip to the Western world. Although they didn't get the 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit, they passed by the Kunlun Mountains on the way back. They had already planted the 10,000-year-old spiritual fruit on the top of the Tongtian Mountain in the Jade Lake secret realm. It would bear fruit sooner or later. When the three of them separated, Xian Tian reminded them. So many cultivators and demons above the spirit accumulation realm have died. I'm afraid there will be a big change in the future of the global martial arts world. Go back and be prepared. Jiang Xi and Li Baibai nodded solemnly. Yes, if we count Krishna, who was killed by Jiangxi, and another gold core stage cultivator from Alpha Star killed by Yan Long, then we will definitely be able to kill him. This time, there were as many as 8 gold core cultivators who died. The number of spirit accumulation realm cultivators also exceeded 40. The death of so many strong cultivators will definitely cause a big earthquake in the martial arts world. However, no matter how big the change was, Jiang Xi was not afraid. He also didn't want to participate too much. What he needed to do most now was to form his core and become a real gold core cultivator. After returning home, Jiang Xi planned to cultivate in seclusion. He directly gave the blue spiritual dagger to Jiang Daodu, which made the little girl very happy. Although Jiang Daodu hadn't reached the spirit accumulation realm, she couldn't really refine the spiritual dagger. However, the quality of the spiritual tool itself was enough to greatly increase her strength. At least, ordinary A-level cultivators were definitely no match for her. Unfortunately, I still can't identify the grade of the dagger. There's a layer of seal on it that I can't see through. Jiang Xi looked at Jiang Daodu, who was playing with the dagger, and pondered in his heart. This spiritual dagger was used as the base of the seal array by the sacred city. It was definitely not that simple. Thinking of this, Jiang Xi went to the underground practice room and searched for some information about the sacred city more than 2,000 years ago. Soon, he found a key piece of information. 2,000 years ago, the Holy Lord who established the holy city sacrificed himself to suppress the abyss of hell. He then searched for information about the abyss and hell. After a series of association, inference, and verification, Jiang Xi had a rough answer in his heart. The abyss of hell was the place of demons in Western mythology. Whether it existed or not was still unknown. The baleful yin energy that existed there was most likely the reason for the existence of the sealing array. This was because the baleful yin energy was fatal to ordinary people. Perhaps the Divine Lord had sacrificed himself in order to prevent the baleful yin energy from wreaking havoc in the Western world. Of course, it was also possible that the Holy Lord had made a mistake in refining the baleful yin energy and had been corroded by the baleful yin energy, sealing himself in the end. After all, the method to refine the baleful yin energy was very precious and not everyone could possess it. If a cultivator did not have the correct refining method and rashly introduced the baleful yin energy into their body, it was very easy for them to suffer from mental confusion and other adverse reactions. Perhaps that was how the so-called demons came to be. Jiang Xi shook his head gently. No matter what, he had benefited from it in the end. Then, let's start the core formation now. Jiang Xi gathered his thoughts and prepared to form the core formation. But before he could form the seal for the core formation, Jiang Daodu knocked on the door of the practice room anxiously. Brother, something big has happened. An old man wants to crusade against you. A moment later, Jiang Xi turned on the computer in the practice room. A holographic live broadcast for the whole world appeared in front of him and Jiang Daodu. In the holographic live broadcast, Jesus was standing in front of the holy city cathedral. His whole body was faintly emitting holy light, looking very sacred. But at this moment, he looked sad and said loudly with righteous indignation, "This is the rebirth of the demons. Xian Tian, Jiang Xi, and Li Baibai are the demons of the present age. The three of them have brutally slaughtered more than 50 top powerhouses in the holy city. They want to be the overlords of martial arts and dominate the world. As the current Pope of the holy city, I, Jesus, hereby strongly appeal to the powerhouses of the world's martial arts world to join forces to resist and crusade against these three demons. At the same time, I strongly request that the Great Xia Kingdom do justice and let these three demons realize their mistakes and commit suicide to atone for their sins." After watching the live broadcast, Jiang Xi was both angry and amused. He was just deducing how demons were formed. How did he become a demon? This shameless old man. He had to admit that Jesus's acting skills were well trained at such an old age. At this moment, his tactical communications watch rang. When he picked up, as expected, it was Xian Tian calling. "Jiang Xi, you saw the live broadcast too, right? Jesus poured the dirty water of the battle of the holy city on us. Do you want to go again and kill him?" Xian Tian asked. "Brother, if we go and kill him now, won't we just prove what he said? Haha, I'm just testing you. I'm afraid you'll rush over and kill him on impulse. I think you're the one who wants to be impulsive." Jiang Xi could tell that Xian Tian did not take Jesus's slander to heart. However, as the current Pope of the holy city, Jesus was highly respected. There were many people all over the world who admired and trusted him. His words set off a global wave of crusades against Jiang Xi and the other two. Especially in the other four major countries, public opinion was the strongest. Because in the new era, the Great Xia Kingdom was far ahead of them. Out of jealousy, no one would let go of this rare opportunity to suppress the powerhouses of the Great Xia Kingdom. The situation of public opinion in the Great Xia Kingdom was better. After all, Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai were the representatives of the powerhouses of the Great Xia Kingdom's martial arts world. Naturally, their reputation was difficult to shake. Of course, since ancient times, there had been traitors and traitors who clamored for crusades on the internet. But who cared about them? Jiang Xi's mood was not affected by this matter. He was focused on forming his core. However, swallowing insult and humiliation was not Jiang Xi's style of doing things. He only had one word for Jesus' slanderous remarks: hypocrite. It was useless to say more. These two words caused the supporters of both sides to quarrel endlessly on the internet. When public opinion was hot, it didn't take long for a new situation to appear. The Peacock country announced that Imotua, a golden core powerhouse from 1,000 years ago, had awakened and honored him as the current Brahmin god. Mo2O's appearance caused a huge sensation. After all, he was the first person to admit that he had lived for 1,000 years. 1,000 years. The desire to pursue longevity would never be outdated. When a person who had lived for 1,000 years appeared in front of the public, everyone boiled over. Then, when Mo20's reputation reached its peak, he made a statement to the world through the internet. He only said one sentence: "I also participated in the Battle of the Holy City. I can testify that Jesus is right." In public opinion, there was often a situation of blind obedience. A powerhouse who had lived for 1,000 years personally testified for Jesus. Immediately, public opinion was biased toward Jesus. Chapter 225. The people who supported Jiang Xi were secretly anxious because no powerhouse came out to testify for Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai. When the public opinion was one-sided, the situation changed again. A shocking and somewhat hilarious virtual live broadcast became a hot topic on the internet. The background of the virtual live stream was a vast swamp where many powerful monsters resided. Two powerful monsters hovered in the sky covered with dark clouds and black rain. "Little Long Long, is it done? It should be done. Human stuff always burns one's brain. If I had known, I would have caught someone to help us. Well, let's begin." Two terrifying figures and low rumbling voices resounded in the sky above the swamp. "I, Long Mang, am here to expose the Pope of the Holy City, he. Uncle Hey, what's he again? Jesus, cough. I, Long Mang, am here to expose the hypocritical face of Pope Jesus of the Holy City." The Battle of the Holy War was caused by him and another black-robed man. They set up an evil formation and killed almost all the cultivators and powerful monsters. That's right. I, Black Tortoise, can also testify that Little Long Long and I both participated in the Battle of the Holy City. The whole thing was Jesus' conspiracy from the beginning to the end. The two powerful monsters spoke one after another and told the general situation of the matter. The outside world was in an uproar. The fact that the powerful monsters could play the live broadcast became the secondary focus. The most important thing was that the two powerful monsters, as the natural enemies of human beings, actually stood out to testify for Jiang Xi and the other two and cleared their names. Could it be that Jesus was really lying? Those who are not of our kind must have a different heart. How can we believe the words of powerful monsters? This statement directly reduced the effect of Long Mang and Black Tortoise's testimony to the lowest. Everyone reacted. Yes, powerful monsters were ferocious and could not be trusted. What made everyone even more puzzled was that except for Jiang Xi, who said the word hypocritical at the beginning, Xian Tian and Li Baibai did not stand out to defend themselves. Were they guilty? Or did they want to ignore them? The public opinion was noisy and there were all kinds of speculations. As time went by, the words supporting Jesus completely gained the upper hand. After all, Jesus looked very friendly, and he was the Pope of the Holy City. He was highly respected, and very few people would doubt him. Jiang Xi didn't know what Xian Tian and Li Baibai were thinking, but he didn't have time to care. There was an old saying in the Great Xia Kingdom, settling accounts after autumn. Right now, he was only focused on forming his golden core. He didn't want to be affected by these things. This was because the process of core formation not only had to be carried out in a very quiet environment, it also required one's heart to be calm. Of course, he wasn't worried about failing. The Violet Firmament Sword Sutra was an important legacy of the Violet Firmament sect of the Tao Alliance. It could be said to be one of the best cultivation techniques in the entire universe. A mere core formation cultivator like him naturally wouldn't have any problems with it. Jiang Xi began to attempt to form his gold core on the night of December 25, the 95th year of the New Moon era. After failing 3 times, he finally succeeded on his 4th try. Coincidentally, the day of success happened to be the new year, January 1st of the 96th year of the New Moon era. The spiritual energy in his body that had been tempered hundreds of times successfully condensed into a sparkling golden core in his lower dantian. In that instant, he felt as if his entire being had been sublimated. His life and mind had undergone a transition. When he opened his eyes again, the whole world was different. So this is the golden core stage. Jiang Xi's heart moved, and he rose into the air. He didn't use the true meaning of gale. It was as if he had the ability to fly by instinct. My connection with the world has become closer. This thought flashed through Jiang Xi's mind. Not only the ability to fly, but his body and spiritual sense had also been greatly improved in this upgrade. In short, he had become stronger. He opened the experience panel. Cultivation, Golden Core, Early Stage 1255000, Tao Technique, True Meaning of Gale, 500,000/500,000, True Meaning of Sword, 824,061 million, Amplitude, 16. 658. Deduction, 10,000 experience points per time. Cultivation method, Purple Firmament Sword Scripture, Peacock Visualization experience points, 9.77 million. The increase in cultivation was also reflected on the panel. Early Stage Golden Core Stage. Leveling up required 255,000 experience points. Let's celebrate the new year first. I'll settle accounts after the new year. Jiang Xi left the practice room and went to visit relatives and friends with Jiang Daodu, returning to the life of an ordinary person. He played like this for a few days. On the 6th day of the new year, he really calmed down and improved his strength. At the same time, he first asked Xian Tian to confirm the location of Hessus and some others, so that he wouldn't be unable to find them when he settled accounts later. Those 1,000-year-old spiritual fruits obtained from the flame dragon's lair have come in handy now. Jiang Xi sat cross-legged in the underground practice room and took out the 1,000-year-old spiritual fruits from the storage ring. Then, he began to use these spiritual fruits to increase his cultivation experience. A 1,000-year-old spiritual fruit could provide about 80,000 points of spiritual energy. With the help of this spiritual energy, Riverward's speed of improvement was very fast. After only an hour, he received a call from Xian Tian. Jiang Xi, I've confirmed the location of Hessus and Mo Tua. Why? Do you want to make a move now? Xian Tian asked. My strength has made a breakthrough, and I'm not afraid of the threat of the holy city. It's time to settle accounts with them, Jiang Xi replied. A breakthrough? You formed the Golden Core? Yes, it's been a few days. Xian Tian was silent for a moment before recovering from the shock. Then, he said, okay, I'll call bye-bye. The three of us will teach these shameless people a lesson together. Big brother, I suggest that we split up. You and Sister Bai will go to the Peacock Nation to settle accounts with Mo Tua, lest that old Baldy sees that the situation is bad and runs away. You can do it alone. No problem. Hearing Jiang Xi's affirmative answer, Xian Tian didn't say much and listened to Jiang Xi's suggestion. He had already seen Jiang Xi's strength. No matter how much Jiang Xi's strength had improved after forming the Golden Core, he would definitely be able to block the attacks of those holy light spears. There was no need to worry about his safety. After ending the call, Jiang Xi didn't continue to improve. He took out the deep stasis sword and prepared to go out. Before leaving, he told Jiang Daodu. Daodu, I'm going out for a while. I'll be back soon. Jiang Daodu's eyes lit up when she saw Jiang Xi carrying a sword on his back. Big brother, are you going to settle accounts? Yes, I checked the almanac. Today is a good day to go out and kill people. Roar. Go, big brother. Kill that shameless old man. Just you wait. Jiang Xi waved his hand and flew into the air, disappearing in an instant. His speed had improved significantly compared to before the breakthrough. In the past hour, he had consumed a total of 3,000-year-old spiritual fruits. The spiritual energy provided had pushed his cultivation level close to the mid-stage of the Golden Core. Cultivation level, Golden Core, Early Stage 24300125500. It could be said that his current strength had improved by nearly 10 times since the last time he went to the Holy City. Do you really think that I'm a pushover? Riverward's figure flitted across the sky, leaving behind afterimages of flowing light. Very soon, he arrived at the holy city. Revisiting the old place. Chapter 226. Jiang Xi didn't reveal himself immediately. Instead, he used his spiritual sense to investigate in the air at the edge of the holy city. After some investigation, he found that the ordinary residents of the holy city hadn't moved back yet after more than 10 days. As expected, Jesus hadn't left the holy city. It made sense. He had a close relationship with the holy city. If he left, he would lose some of his special means. What surprised Jiang Xi was that Mr. Yuan Qingshan hadn't left either. I'm afraid the secret collusion between Jesus and the people of Hermit Yuan Qing has been going on for a long time. Perhaps the mysterious founder of the Freedom Alliance has always been hiding in the holy city. That's why no one has discovered his tracks all these years. Jiang Xi's face turned cold. He stopped hiding and revealed himself in the air. Jesus, Mr. Yuan Qingshan, come out and face your death. He deliberately used his spiritual force. His voice was like rolling thunder, echoing in the sky above the holy city. In the holy city cathedral, Jesus and Mr. Yuan Qingshan were stunned. They recognized that it was Jiang Xi's voice. How dare you? They were very surprised. They thought that Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai had all come. However, their spiritual sense discovered that Jiang Xi was the only one in the sky above the holy city. Wasn't he here to die? Contact the nearest military base of the Holy Alliance and transfer a few satellites over for a live broadcast. I'll use this opportunity to make everyone believe that I'm right. Jesus had many thoughts and quickly made some arrangements. Then, he said to Mr. Yuan Qingshan, you don't have to do anything. It's easy for me to deal with him with the help of the holy city. That's good too. The dragon python mentioned me in the live broadcast. If I appear, it will make people suspicious. Mr. Yuan Qingshan nodded. Then, Jesus flew out of the cathedral and stood in the air. He was very confident that if Jiang Xi didn't escape this time, he could use the power of the holy city to kill Jiang Xi. Furthermore, it wasn't just about killing them. Several satellites of the Sacred Alliance were already recording this place from all angles. He also wanted to take this opportunity to push all the blame for the Battle of the Sacred City onto Jiang Xi. Riverward, you demon. You're too arrogant. How dare you come to my holy city? Hessus pointed at Riverward, expressing his anger and pain to the extreme at this time. The scene here had already been broadcasted to all parts of the world via satellite. On the internet, one could clearly see what was happening in the sky above the sacred city. The world was in an uproar. After half a month of fermenting public opinion, Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Baibai, one of them finally stood out. However, they didn't know that Xian Tian and Li Baibai were about to reach the Peacock country. When Jesus angrily scolded Jiang Xi, many people felt the same way, as if Jiang Xi was really a demon. There were also people who were looking forward to seeing how Jiang Xi would respond. Could Jiang Xi really be a sinister murderous demon like Jesus said? Under the gaze of tens of thousands of people, Jiang Xi said again with an indifferent expression, hypocrite. After reaching the golden core stage, his spiritual sense had also been upgraded. Just now, his spiritual sense had discovered Jesus' little trick of mobilizing the satellite broadcast. He didn't stop it, as he had a clear conscience. Since you took the initiative to come to me, then today, I will avenge those cultivators and great demons who died last time and kill you, demon. The holy light on Jesus' body was rich and incomparably sacred. Punishment of the holy light. Following his angry roar, the buildings all over the city released wisps of holy light at the same time, which gathered in the sky above the holy city and condensed into powerful holy light spears. Go! Thousands of holy light spears whistled toward Jiang Xi like a rain of arrows. The powerful power shocked some of the Golden Core stage experts who were watching the satellite broadcast. Some people didn't participate in the Battle of the Sacred City last time. Therefore, many people didn't know Jesus' strength. Only now did they see how powerful Jesus was. Even they couldn't withstand those holy light spears. If they didn't escape, they would die. What a joke! Jiang Xi laughed. A thick layer of purple protective light suddenly appeared all over his body, and he stood out of thin air like a god fiend. True sword intent. With a thought, a layer of sword shadow rose from the abyss sword in his hand as if it could penetrate space. Those powerful holy light spears were about to fly in front of him. The light was so dazzling that the satellite broadcast couldn't capture a specific image. Punishment of the holy light, my ass. What right do you have to punish others? Accompanied by Jiang Xi's indifferent voice, he swung his sword lightly. The sword shadow turned into sword shadows that filled the sky and directly pierced those powerful holy light spears. Puff, 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 the holy light spears that seemed to be able to burn all the evil in the world disappeared into thin air. When the light dissipated, the satellite broadcast captured the image again. Jiang Xi was unscathed, but Jesus' face was full of disbelief. Impossible. Punishment of the holy light. He opened his arms and was about to attack again. Let's end this. However, at this moment, Jiang Xi disappeared on the spot. His speed had reached the maximum. What? Jesus' face changed drastically. Chi, the sharp blade of the abyss sword swept across his forehead, and his whole body was cut in half. You have killed an early-stage Golden Core cultivator. Experience points plus 1,000, Jiang Xi swung his sword lightly as if talking to himself. His loud voice echoed in the sky above the holy city. All schemes are illusory in the face of absolute strength. If I were a devil, then I would be the devil who punishes the wicked. Today, I will show everyone who is good and who is evil. These few words were clearly transmitted to all parts of the world through the satellite broadcast. Many people had yet to recover from the shock of Jiang Xi killing Jesus when their attention was attracted by Jiang Xi's words. Who is good and who is evil? What does he mean? Just as everyone was puzzled, the satellite broadcast captured a black-robed figure flying out of the holy city cathedral and fleeing at high speed. The black-robed man. Some time ago, the great demon dragon Python said that Jesus and a black-robed man were behind the battle of the holy city. Could it be, Jesus lied? That kind-looking pope who represents holiness is really a hypocrite. This scene caused a huge commotion. Although everyone was still puzzled, they realized what the truth was in their hearts. The public debate that had been going on for half a month had finally come to light. In the sky above the holy city, Jiang Xi would not let any of his enemies go. His figure flashed, and he caught up with the fleeing Yuan Qingshan. Jiang Xi, don't kill me. I can tell you the big secret of the Fengdu mystic realm. In the face of death, Yuan Qingshan was also terrified. He never would have thought that in just half a month, Riverward would become so formidable. He was many times stronger than before. He dispersed the powerful holy light punishment with one strike. Even a late-stage Golden Core cultivator would not be as powerful as Jiang Xi, right? No need. Jiang Xi rejected decisively. The secret of the Fengdu mystic realm? What Yuan Qingshan knew could not be bigger than the secret of the ghost sect's inheritance. Chapter 227. Jiang Xi's ruthless rejection caused Yuan Qingshan to fall into despair. Damn it! You won't have an easy time even if I die. He roared angrily as the spiritual power in his body surged and expanded. He was also about to self-destruct. Why bother? Jiang Xi shook his head gently. The wind whistled as he suddenly stabbed his sword into Yuan Qingshan's body like lightning. Under the extreme speed, the other party couldn't dodge at all. This time, it wasn't a deflation, but a direct explosion. Boom! A huge explosion occurred in the sky above the sacred city. The power of an early-stage golden core cultivator's self-destruction was undoubtedly demonstrated at this moment. It was as if 10 nuclear bombs had been detonated at the same time. The entire peninsula where the sacred city was located shook violently. A huge tsunami occurred in the Mediterranean Sea and quickly drowned the entire peninsula. The monsters living here also fled as if their lives depended on it. This power was enough to destroy the world. Could Jiang Xi, who was at the center of the explosion, withstand such a powerful force? After a long time, the storm subsided. Everyone could clearly see it through the satellite broadcast. Jiang Xi, who was covered in a purple protective light, was standing quietly in the sky above the sacred city. It was as if everything that had just happened had nothing to do with him. So powerful. Everyone was shocked. Jiang Xi's expression was calm. He didn't care about what the people outside thought about this battle. He also didn't care whether the people outside believed what he said or not. Strength was enough to prove everything. This time, he killed 2 people and showed his powerful strength. No one would be stupid enough to jump out and cause trouble. Even if it was the zombie patriarch of the Ma family, who had the combat power of a late-stage golden core cultivator, if that old guy dared to jump out, he would turn him into a real corpse. The power of the explosion just now was so powerful, but these ancient buildings were not damaged at all. Under the satellite broadcast, Jiang Xi strolled leisurely in the sacred city. At the same time, he carefully searched the sacred city with his spiritual sense, trying to find out the secrets of this city. The sacred city's forbidden area, the cathedral, the Colosseum. He carefully observed for a while, but he didn't find anything. The entire sacred city is integrated as if there is some kind of connection. Unfortunately, with my current strength, I can't see through everything here. Jiang Xi didn't underestimate this sacred city. In the end, he shook his head and put these doubts aside. His body swayed and disappeared. It was time to go home. Jiang Xi's battle was not as simple as shocking as it seemed. It had a far-reaching impact. The strength he displayed made the people of the Western world fall into complete despair. With such an absolute expert in the Great Xia Kingdom, they didn't even have the chance to overtake them. Previously, those who said that Jiang Xi, Xian Tian, and Li Bai were the 3 eastern demons disappeared from the internet. Because in this battle, Jesus had revealed his true colors. It was enough to prove that the previous demon's words were false. No one dared to mention this again. So what if Jiang Xi and the others were demons? Who would dare to challenge them? Despair spread throughout the Western world. However, it wasn't over yet. Just when everyone thought that this matter had been settled, another shocking battle in Peacock Country broke out on the internet. Xian Tian and Li Bai started from the upper reaches of the Peacock Nation's holy river and chased after him for thousands of kilometers. In the end, they killed the current Brahmin over-god Mo Tua at the lower reaches of the holy river. The scene of the battle between the 3 of them caused the sacred river to churn violently. The river water flowed backwards and flooded countless wilderness along the river. Such a battle silenced the world once again. Many people finally realized that in addition to Jiang Xi, there was also Xian Tian and Li Bai in the Great Xia Kingdom. These 2 peerless experts had dominated the world's martial arts world for many years. Despair. On this day, in addition to the Great Xia Kingdom, the Dark Shadow Nation and the Sacred Alliance in the Western world, the Alpha Star in the north, and the Peacock Nation in the south. The upper echelons and martial arts experts of each country made a helpless and bitter decision. They gave up on chasing after the Great Xia Kingdom and developed in secret, waiting for an opportunity. In the Great Xia Kingdom, the whole country was boiling. A new year had just passed, and now it was like a new year. The 3 great experts spread their might across the world, crossing thousands of miles and killing powerful enemies. Now, everyone understood. It turned out that the 3 great experts weren't swallowing their anger. They didn't make a move before, which was a kind of benevolence. They wanted to let their enemies live for a while longer. But once they made a move, they used thunderous means and killed them directly. Jiang Xi quietly returned to Pak Sun province in the midst of the hustle and bustle. Recalling the call with the Xian Tian just now, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Because the Xian Tian complained that the Peacock Nation was too poor. That old monk Mo Tua was an expert from 1,000 years ago, and he didn't have any family background. From head to toe, he had nothing but clothes. The Xian Tian complained, but in fact, they also understood that the Peacock Nation couldn't be so poor. There should be a lot of inheritance that hadn't been dug up. For example, the peacock visualization method that Jiang Xi cultivated was provided by a spirit vessel cultivator in the Peacock Nation. This visualization method was valued by even the Tao integration expert, Taoist Gu, so it was definitely not simple. If there's a chance in the future, I must go to the Peacock Nation to hunt for treasures. Jiang Xi thought to himself as he stepped into the house. It only took an hour to go out, kill someone, and come back. It was very easy. After this battle, Jiang Xi guessed that the world's martial arts world would probably enter a period of calm. The impact of the fourth recovery of spiritual qi had subsided. Those awakened powerhouses were most likely going to go into hiding again. He was also happy to see such a situation. It was great that there was no need to fight and kill. In the following days, he either accompanied Jiang Daodu to cultivate or went to the wilderness to kill monsters and harvest a wave of experience points. Of course, in this piece, Jiang Xi was also steadily improving his strength. After reaching the early stage of the Golden Core realm, his experience points in cultivation and Dao techniques increased to 800 points every day. He improved a little bit every day, moving toward a higher realm. After returning from the Holy City, half a month later, he broke through again and reached the mid-stage of the Golden Core realm. This breakthrough was expected, and Jiang Xi wasn't surprised. His main energy now was studying two things. First, deduce the true meaning of Gale and upgrade this Dao technique to the next realm. Second, learn how to set up teleportation arrays in preparation for truly entering the universe. In terms of deducing the true meaning of Gale, the results were not satisfactory. Every time he thought about it, Jiang Xi's heart twitched in pain. In order to make his heart feel a little better, he spent 100,000 experience points every day to deduce it 10 times. In half a month, a total of 15 million experience points were spent, and there was no gain. For this, he had to go to the wilderness around Pak Sun province every day to kill monsters and harvest experience points. Jiang Xi didn't believe that there were tens of billions of monsters in the wilderness of the Great Xia country. With so much experience points, how could he not deduce the next stage of the true meaning of Gale? What made him feel a little better was that his understanding of teleportation arrays was very fast. And his requirements were very simple. At this stage, as long as he could set up a small teleportation array, he didn't need to study it too deeply. Just like that, half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 228. Compared to the vast universe, Earth was like a grain of sand, unremarkable. Even after hundreds of years, the solar system, which humans had yet to fully explore, appeared insignificant in the starry sky. New Moon Year 96, July 7th. On this day, at the edge of the solar system, in the dead silent starry sky, a ripple suddenly appeared like the surface of water. A flying boat without sails passed through the ripple and appeared in the starry sky abruptly. The flying boat was enveloped by an invisible barrier. The many dangers in the vacuum environment did not affect the flying boat at all. At this moment, 3 figures stood on the deck of the flying boat. 2 men and 1 woman, all of whom looked young. The 3 of them looked somewhat similar to the people of Great Xia. They wore different styles of spiritual battle suits and emitted powerful auras. When they saw the starry sky environment clearly, they immediately knelt on the ground and shouted in an ancient language to vent their excitement. "Captain, we've made it! We've made it! After 3 years without sleep and rest, we've conquered the core area of the chaotic star belt. Ha! The chaotic star belt, the forbidden land in the pale blue star region that no one has set foot in for tens of thousands of years has been broken by me, Hu Yen. Hu Yen was the leader of the short-haired young men. He looked the most similar to the people of Great Xia. He had a handsome face and was quite elegant. He quickly calmed down and instructed the other man and woman, Zhe, Qiu Hong, quickly record this historical moment with the astrolabe. This moment will become one of the glories of my life as a wanderer. They took out the astrolabe and started recording. After a while, the other young man with a scar on his face, Chu Zhe, changed his expression. Captain, there's no mark of the heavenly eye in this starry sky. What? The short-haired young man, Hu Yen, was shocked. He quickly snatched the astrolabe and waved his hand to summon a blurry image of the starry sky. The heavenly eye of the heavenly eye covered the entire universe. As long as it was a human territory, there would be a mark of the heavenly eye. The astrolabe could use the power of the heavenly eye to provide navigation for interstellar travel. At this moment, the astrolabe did not show their current location. Captain, this is a desolate galaxy. If there's a planet of life here, we'll be rich. Qiu Hong was very excited. Her temperament was somewhat feminine. The three of them, who had just calmed down, suddenly became excited again. They stood on the airship and looked at a planet at the edge of the solar system. Zhe, Qiu Hong, let's explore these planets one by one. Record it down with the star atlas. Hu Yen said heroically. He was also extremely excited. Just as Qiu Hong had said, if they could find a planet with life, then they would be rich. According to the rules of the Tao Alliance, the first person to discover a life-bearing planet in the desolate nebula can apply to become the ruler of the planet. If there is really a life planet here, even the lowest level 1 life planet would be worth millions of lower spiritual crystals. Once it is sold, its value will be even higher. Although I'm the number 1 genius of the Qingxian sect in this generation, I've comprehended a Tao domain with my cultivation at the advanced stage of the Golden Core realm, and my combat strength is comparable to that of the nascent Soul realm. However, compared to the geniuses of the top-tier immortal Tao sects of the Tao Alliance, there's still a huge difference. If I had such wealth, the foundation of cultivation was talent, but the foundation of cultivation was wealth and resources. With 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals, he could easily break through his current bottleneck and truly reach the nascent soul stage. It could also help him advance further in the nascent soul stage. It is said that the top geniuses of the 3 sects and 6 sects of the Tao Alliance can comprehend a complete Tao at the nascent soul stage. If I can get a great opportunity this time, I might have the chance to reach that stage. Hu Yan's heart was filled with ambition. The airship traveled silently in the starry sky. It seemed slow, but it was as if it was traveling through space. Every time it traveled, it would cross 100,000 kilometers. At this speed, if they did not explore other planets, they would reach Earth in 2 months at most. Earth, Pak Sun Province, Mansion Number 92 in Tongtian District. Jiang Xi had cleared out a large empty space in the underground training room. A small teleportation portal with a radius of 1 meter was engraved on it. In the middle of the slightly complicated runes, there were 3 grooves where the spiritual crystals would be placed. At this time, 3 low-grade blood spiritual crystals were placed on top of it. Jiang Daodu surrounded the teleportation portal and looked at it curiously for a long time. Brother, can this work? Last week, you sent a little rabbit to God knows where. You might as well burn it and eat rabbit meat. Jiang Xi patted his head and ignored Jiang Daodu's nagging. Last time, it was purely a mistake. There were some slight deviations in the angles of a few runes. After a week of readjustment, he was now sure that there should be no problem. However, he still had to test it. When he was sure that there were no problems, he could personally experience it. Where's the rabbit? Jiang Xi asked. Jiang Daodu reluctantly handed the rabbit to Jiang Xi. Why did he have to experiment with a rabbit? Rabbit was so delicious, Jiang Xi was speechless. He heard the little girl swallowing her saliva. Cough. He coughed and placed the confused rabbit in the middle of the teleportation portal. Under Jiang Daoda's reluctant gaze, he made a series of hand seals and activated the teleportation portal. The next moment, the teleportation portal absorbed the spiritual chi energy of the blood spiritual crystals and the runes lit up. Whoosh, the light dissipated and the little rabbit disappeared. Go take a look, go take a look. Jiang Daoda urged. Jiang Xi smiled and left the practice room in a flash. Then, he flew directly to the wilderness. He had set up a two-way teleportation portal. The other end was in a remote place in the wilderness. To verify whether the teleportation was successful, he had to see if the rabbit appeared on the other end. In just 10 breaths, he arrived in front of a small mountain. There was a stone cave that he had dug in advance. The other end of the teleportation portal was inside. In fact, he had already discovered the situation in the stone cave from a long distance away. However, to be safe, he still had to confirm it with his own eyes. He walked into the stone cave and saw that there was also a small teleportation portal in the middle. Meanwhile, the little rabbit was jumping around in the cave, looking very happy. Success! Jiang Xi smiled and activated the teleportation portal here to teleport the little rabbit back. Success once did not mean that it would be successful every time. Experiments had to be done with a rigorous attitude. Therefore, this little rabbit was teleported back and forth thousands of times by Jiang Xi in a day. When the 2 moons rose, the confused little rabbit was finally free. However, its death still created value. It allowed Jiang Xi to confirm that the teleportation portal he had set up was a success. Next, I have to adjust the mark of the teleportation portal and change the destination to the Moon Palace on the first moon. Chapter 229. The teleportation array was not set up casually. There were many things to pay attention to. One of them was the carving of the imprint. Between 2 teleportation arrays, no matter how far they were, they had to be connected in order to be teleported. The imprint was equivalent to a signal identification code. It was the key to establishing a signal connection between the teleportation arrays. It was very important. The imprint of a teleportation array was divided into private imprints and universal imprints. Generally, a small teleportation array set up by an individual would use an encrypted private imprint. Of course, this was not absolute. On the other hand, large-scale interstellar teleportation arrays used universal imprints, which were public. The teleportation array in the Moon Palace of the first moon was left by Taoist Gu. Naturally, his private imprint was engraved on it. If one did not know Taoist Ge's private imprint, they would not be able to set the destination of the teleportation array there. And Jiang Xi had Taoist Ge's inherited memories, so he definitely knew this. Next, he spent another half a month and finally finished adjusting the imprint of the teleportation array. He could go to the first moon through this teleportation array. Before trying to teleport to the first moon, Jiang Xi first went to the Xiantian city to find Xiantian to buy some things. As the saying goes, the poor have a rich road. If one wanted to go on a long trip, they had to buy some traveling expenses for themselves. If one were to ask who had the most money on earth, of course, it would be Xiantian. Xiantian had been the world's #1 expert for so many years. He had participated in the excavation of many mystic realms and had obtained countless treasures. For example, the abyss condensation sword in Jiang Xi's hand was excavated by Xiantian from an ancient mystic realm in the Great Xia Kingdom. Because of his poor appraisal skills, Xiantian did not know how rich he was. Coincidentally, Jiang Xi knew, so he took a lot of good things from Xiantian. With his wallet bulging, he also had the confidence to go on a long trip. New Moon Year 96, August 24, Tongtian District, Villa number 92, Underground Training Room. To teleport to the moon, the spiritual energy of 3 inferior blood spirit crystals is enough. After all, A mediocre blood spirit crystal was equivalent to all the energy of a spirit-gathering stage practitioner. Under Jiang Duda's gaze, Jiang Xi placed the blood spirit crystal in the energy slot of the teleportation array. He was preparing to teleport to the first moon. "Big brother, are you sure you can go out in this outfit?" Jiang Duda was a little worried. This was because Jiang Xi was dressed very simply. He was dressed casually in a white shirt, jeans, and canvas shoes. He looked very ordinary. The profound condensation sword was also not on his back. It was stored in his storage ring. No one knows what's going on with the other planets. "This is my first time in space, so I have to keep a low profile," Jiang Xi said seriously. It would be troublesome if he dressed too ostentatiously and the aliens thought that he was a fat sheep. "Then you must be careful. Don't forget to bring back some extraterrestrial specialties for me." Jiang Duda pretended to be relaxed and smiled, hiding the worry in her heart. "Ha, I'll be right back." Jiang Xi waved his hand and activated the teleportation portal. The runes of the teleportation portal flickered, and he disappeared from the underground training room. Jiang Duda did not go anywhere. She just stayed there and stared at the teleportation portal. She knew that Jiang Xi had set up the same teleportation portal in a remote place in the wilderness. Even if this one was destroyed, it would not affect Jiang Xi's travel. Not only that, but to prevent any accidents, she had also activated the villa's defense to the highest level and set it to reject all visitors. Nothing was more important than Jiang Xi's safety. This teleportation portal could not be damaged. On the first moon, in the dilapidated Guanghan Palace, the teleportation portal that was covered by a barrier suddenly activated, and the still gray fog rolled violently. A figure appeared in the flickering light. "Ha, it worked." Jiang Xi saw the familiar environment in front of him and was surprised. Before the teleportation, he was still a little nervous. Even if he had tested it 1,000 times with a rabbit, it was a rabbit, not a human. He did not expect that he would succeed on his first try. Jiang Xi did not immediately leave the dilapidated Guanghan Palace. Instead, he kowtowed 3 times and 9 times at the place where Daoist Gu had disappeared. Although he had only interacted with Daoist Gu for less than 10 minutes, his master was still his master. The inherited memories that Daoist Gu had left for him were extremely useful. Then, he flew to the interstellar teleportation portal on the dark side of the first moon. With his current strength, he could survive in the vacuum of space for an hour or 2. But it was impossible for him to fly from Earth to the moon. It was a journey of nearly 400,000 kilometers. He would die in the vacuum before he could reach it. The first moon was small and had low gravity. In just 3 minutes, he flew to the dark side of the moon and arrived at the location of the interstellar teleportation portal. However, there was an endless sandstorm in front of him. 10,000 years have passed. The interstellar teleportation portal has long been buried by the sandstorm. Jiang Xi shook his head and activated his spiritual power. The wind whistled and blew away the sandstorm. He did this for a full 5 minutes. When the ground here sank by 3 meters, he saw the interstellar teleportation portal that covered an area of about 1 square kilometer. The runes that made up this portal were extremely complicated. Those patterns revealed an ancient aura. Surprisingly, after 10,000 years, this interstellar teleportation portal was not eroded by time and remained intact. 10,000 years ago, my chief master discovered this interstellar teleportation portal. In order to prevent Yin Tianxing from escaping, he deliberately engraved his personal imprint on this portal. If you don't know how to activate the imprint, you can't use this portal. Similarly, if there are people from other planets who want to teleport here, they can't do it either. Jiang Xi smiled softly. This was equivalent to Daoist Gu encrypting the interstellar teleportation portal's identification code. People who did not have the password could not activate this portal, nor could they set the destination of the portal to this place. Next, Jiang Xi took out 3 low-grade blood spirit crystals from his storage ring and placed them in the energy slot of the interstellar teleportation portal. The destination he was going to this time was a planet with life that was very far away from Earth. It was called the Blue Planet. Back then, when Taoist Gu was chasing after Yin Tianxing of the Ghost Sect, he had stopped at the Blue Planet for a short time. According to Taoist GE's inherited memory, only 2 low-grade spiritual crystals were needed to successfully activate the interstellar teleportation portal to the Blue Planet. The level of the interstellar teleportation portal was very high. It could automatically absorb the spirit chi of heaven and earth to ensure its normal operation. The spirit chi provided by the 2 low-grade spiritual crystals was only used to activate the portal. After setting the coordinates of the destination, Jiang Xi took a deep breath and was full of anticipation. Whether it was in the old era or the new era, humans were full of curiosity and desire to explore the universe. Besides Earth, were there any other planets with life in the universe? Chapter 230. Especially during the third spirit chi awakening, palaces that were obviously built by intelligent life appeared on the 2 moons. This further confirmed that Earth might not be alone on this planet. However, no one could give a definite answer without seeing an alien with their own eyes. And Jiang Xi had seen an alien last year. The appearance of Taoist Gu and the inheritance memories he left behind gave Jiang Xi a deeper understanding of the universe. Humans on Earth were not the only intelligent life forms in the universe. The universe was vast and there were countless races. The human race was just one of them. Of course, it was a powerful race. With the Tao Alliance as the core, the human race occupied the vast 9-star zones and was one of the top races in the universe. Jiang Xi knew that when he activated the teleportation array, he would take a big step forward for the humans on Earth. He was about to enter an even more magnificent great world. I wonder if the aliens are like Master and look like the people of Great Xia. Jiang Xi thought about this question in his heart. Standing in the interstellar teleportation array, he did not hesitate and directly activated Taoist GE's private imprint. Buzz! The interstellar teleportation array formed a special environment and emitted a buzzing sound. The complicated runes emitted a brilliant light and formed a mysterious pattern, as if resonating with another distant interstellar teleportation array. In the next moment, Jiang Xi's figure disappeared in the light. The blue star region had hundreds of galaxies with life. As the core planet of the region, the blue star was naturally the most prosperous. The blue star was very big. Its diameter was more than 100,000 kilometers, 10 times larger than Earth. Its population was as high as 10 billion. Because of the special location of the blue star, there were not only humans but also other races living in the various cities on this planet. Among them, Linhai City, which was located on the coast of the ocean, was one of the most open cities on the blue star. In the sky above the ocean outside the city, there were floating islands. Private flying boats or large public interstellar flying boats circled in the starry sky and landed on the floating islands. It was bustling with activity and was extremely prosperous. Those were the cultivators who had rushed to planet Sanglan on their flying ships from distant galaxies. They had all kinds of purposes, such as visiting friends, apprenticeship, traveling, competitive exchanges, business exchanges, and so on. After they got off the flying boat, they went through the teleportation array on the island and entered the main city of Linhai City. The teleportation point of Waterfront City was located at the edge of the main city area. It was a majestic hall that occupied an area of hundreds of square kilometers. Inside the teleportation hall, there were many small teleportation formations of different sizes. From time to time, they would light up as people were teleported from different places of Blue Star. As for the interstellar teleportation array in the depths of the hall, it lit up less frequently. Generally, cultivators who had the strength to step into the starry sky tended to use flying ships for interstellar travel. The reason for not using the interstellar teleportation portal was very simple. First of all, not all planets with life had interstellar teleportation arrays. Secondly, the cost of using the interstellar teleportation portal was too high. However, the interstellar teleportation cost at least 100 low-grade spiritual crystals each time. Although the flying boat was not as fast as the teleportation array, it was cheaper. The lifespan of a cultivator was long, and this little bit of time did not matter to them. Only when there was an emergency would one think of using the interstellar teleportation array. As for the interstellar teleportation, there were even fewer people using it because the cost of using it was tens of thousands of lower spiritual crystals. Although the activation of the interstellar teleportation portal did not cost many spiritual crystals, there were many other miscellaneous costs. Even a nascent soul cultivator would feel the pinch for decades if they took out so many spiritual crystals at once. Gong Shi was one of the captains of the guards of Waterfront City's teleportation hall. It was his turn to guard the teleportation hall for the past 10 years. However, the task of guarding the teleportation hall was very leisurely. Usually, there was nothing major, and the guards below would handle the small matters. On this day, Gong Shi was cultivating when he was awakened by a guard under his command. "Captain, the interstellar teleportation portal lit up." "So what if it lit up? Why are you making a fuss?" Gong Shi was a little displeased. It was very unpleasant to be disturbed when one was cultivating in peace. But the teleportation array did not show the origin. What? Gong Shi could not sit still anymore. In a flash, he came to the front of the interstellar teleportation portal. He saw that the interstellar teleportation portal, which was 1 square kilometer in size, lit up with a complicated pattern. This was a sign that someone was about to be teleported over. However, the mark on the teleportation array did not show the coordinates of the person being teleported. Seeing that the teleportation was about to be completed, Gong Shi suppressed the surprise in his heart and hurriedly ordered the guards under his command to line up. He first tidied up his clothes, then bent slightly and stood respectfully in front of the interstellar teleportation portal. After being the captain of the guards of the teleportation hall for so many years, he had concluded one experience: in this job, one could not offend people. At this time, in the teleportation hall, many of the cultivators coming and going nearby were attracted by the guards' actions. They curiously stopped in their tracks. What kind of person was able to make the guards of the Linhai City teleportation hall greet them so respectfully? After all, not many people used the interstellar teleportation portal all year round. In just 3 breaths, the complicated pattern emitted a dazzling light, and a figure appeared in the interstellar teleportation portal. The light dissipated, and everyone saw the figure clearly. His appearance was not strange. He was a normal human. However, his clothes were very strange. It was obviously different from the style of the blue planet. Gong Shi was also stunned for a moment, but he reacted quickly and hurriedly said in a clear voice, "I am Gong Shi, the 3rd captain of the guards of Waterfront City's teleportation hall on the blue planet." "Welcome, sir." Even though he found that the person was also in the late stage of the Golden Core realm like him, he did not dare to be careless. Because generally, when interstellar teleportation was carried out, the teleportation portal would show the approximate location of the other end. There were only 2 possibilities for this situation. One was that the location of the other end of the teleportation portal was too far away, across the star region, and the teleportation mark on the other end could not be recognized. The other was that the person who used the teleportation portal was a peerless powerhouse who had concealed his origin. Although this person is not a peerless powerhouse, he can carry out interstellar teleportation with only the cultivation of the Golden Core realm. Either he is a genius from a top immortal sect or an ancient family in a distant star region. Or there is a peerless powerhouse behind him who has concealed his origin. No matter which one it is, I can't afford to offend him. Because one interstellar teleportation cost at least 10,000 low-grade spiritual crystals. He had only earned that many spiritual crystals in 10 years. This person's expression is normal, as if he has experienced such scenes often. Moreover, this person's clothes reveal a mysterious aura. Even I can't see through it. Gong Shi waited for a while, but the person in the teleportation portal did not respond to him. He was even more certain of his speculation. Chapter 231. In reality, Jiang Xi was a little confused. However, his many years of experience made him subconsciously show an indifferent attitude. In reality, he was extremely shocked. My God, this is the blue planet. The captain of the guards is already at the late-stage golden core stage. Not only that, but the group of guards behind Gong Shi were also at the golden core stage. Just one of the guards was already comparable to the most powerful force on Earth. How powerful was this planet? Jiang Xi was stunned for a few seconds before regaining his composure. He told himself that he had to be calm at this time. Then, he walked out of the galaxy teleportation formation area expressionlessly. At the same time, he casually observed his surroundings and saw many onlookers. Sure enough, there would be onlookers everywhere. Most of these people looked very normal. Only a few looked a little strange. Some had horns on their heads, some had tails on their butts, some had red eyes and green skin. However, they were all humanoid and belonged to the human race. My lord, please register your identity. Gong Shi did not forget his duty. He stepped forward with a respectful attitude. Jiang Xi only nodded slightly. He maintained his cold demeanor and followed him to the registration area. The galaxy was not as chaotic as one would imagine. This was especially so for the vital planets under the Tao Alliance's rule. The social order was very complete. Every time a cultivator arrived at a planet, they would have to register their identity. Of course, it was another matter whether the registered identity was real or fake. As long as they did not do anything bad, no one would investigate. After all, the universe was so big. No one would be so bored as to investigate these things every day. Everyone has to cultivate, all right? My lord, please show me your identity jade tablet, Gong Shi said. I lost my identity jade tablet. Help me make a new one. Jiang Xi said softly. His tone was calm, as if he was talking about something very normal. This was the first time he had spoken. Gong Shi's heart trembled. Jiang Xi was speaking the most authentic common language of the Tao Alliance. His pronunciation was perfect and very accurate. If he did not come from a top-tier sect or an ancient family, he would not be able to learn this at all. Perhaps he is undergoing some kind of training and cannot reveal his identity. That's why he said he lost his identity jade tablet. Gong Shi's mind raced. In the end, he decided to go with the flow and not investigate Jiang Xi's identity. Sir, please tell me your identity. Gong Shi smiled. Jiang Xi, Murong Star, Minglan Star Region. Jiang Xi secretly breathed a sigh of relief and casually said the identity that he had prepared long ago. Minglan Star Region. Gong Shi could no longer hide the shock in his heart, because he had heard of this star zone before. The Minglan Star Region was located at the edge of the Zixiao domain. From there to the Kanglan Star Region, one had to cross almost the entire Zixiao domain. This was no longer just crossing between star zones, it was equivalent to crossing between star fields. The Tao Alliance was divided into stellar regions, and stellar systems. Only nascent soul stage mighty figures were able to perform interplanetary teleportation. Although this Jiang Xi was only at the golden core stage, his background was definitely frightening. Therefore, he became even more respectful. A moment later. Sir, take care. Jiang Xi nodded gently and put the jade tablet into his storage ring. Afterwards, he walked out of the teleportation hall with steady steps under Gong Shi's respectful escort. After passing the test of identity, the rest was easy. After all, it was difficult for an unregistered person to move around anywhere. Sure enough, it's never a burden to have more skills. The common language of the Tao Alliance that I spent time learning in the inheritance memory has come in handy now. Jiang Xi sighed in his heart. The inheritance memory that Taoist Gu left for him was too comprehensive. After walking out of the teleportation hall, he looked at Linhai City, which had a completely different architectural style from that of Earth. Although Riverward was surprised in his heart, he maintained his composure on the surface. Since the character had been set, it couldn't be changed. If someone found out something fishy, there might be trouble. The guard captain's attitude just now was so respectful, and it had a lot to do with his people. First of all, Daoist Gu had encrypted the interstellar teleportation array of the first moon. When he teleported, others couldn't see the interstellar coordinates from which he came. This gave people a sense of mystery. Secondly, although he seemed to be wearing simple clothes, he was actually wearing 2 pieces of underwear made of nascent soul stage demon skin. It was difficult for a golden core stage soul sense to see through the skin of a nascent soul stage demon. This made him even more mysterious. If he destroyed this mysterious character, he would be in big trouble. Therefore, he had to be careful, but he couldn't show this caution. Jiang Xi was like a tourist who was about to enter the main city of Linhai City. After a few steps, someone called him from behind. "Brother Jiang Xi, please wait." Jiang Xi looked over in confusion and saw a tall and thin young man in luxurious clothes chasing after him from the teleportation hall. How did this person know his name? What's the matter? Jiang Xi's tone was calm. "Brother Jiang Xi, this should be your first time on planet Sanglan, right?" The tall and thin young man didn't answer the question. "That's right." Jiang Xi nodded lightly. There was nothing to hide. The other party must have known his name from Gong Shi, but Gong Shi probably didn't have the guts to reveal his background. "I knew it. In the past 100 years, I basically know all the cultivators who can use the interstellar teleportation array on planet Sanglan. Brother Jiang Xi, this is my first time meeting you. If you don't mind, I can be your guide." "Charge?" I, Shen Wanxi, am not that kind of person. I just want to be friends with Brother Jiang Xi." Jiang Xi nodded. "Just based on your name, there's no harm in being friends with you." Since this person could find out his name from Gong Shi, he definitely wasn't simple. After chatting for a while, Jiang Xi found out that Shen Wanxi was really a businessman. According to the other party's description, he was quite rich. The Shen family has been on the Vero planet for tens of thousands of years. Generations of our family have been interstellar merchants. We are quite famous in the Blue Star region. According to my father's plan, I will take over his position after I reach the Yuaning realm. However, I don't want to go back and inherit the family business, so I came to planet Sanglan to make a living. After so many years, I've made a lot of business and made many friends. My biggest dream is to buy a manor in the main city of Linhai City and become a permanent resident of planet Sanglan. If you ask me, flying was prohibited in the cities of planet Sanglan, so the two of them walked to the main city of Linhai City. It wasn't far. Along the way, the two of them chatted as they walked, and Shen Wanxi was basically the one doing the talking. It was obvious that Shen Wanxi was indeed very talkative. Jiang Xi only interjected a few words occasionally. It was just nice that he could get more information from Shen Wanxi. Soon, he followed Shen Wanxi and arrived at the first destination of this trip. It was the largest interstellar business group on planet Sanglan Trade. In the building with different styles, many cultivators were shopping for goods. There were also interstellar businessmen discussing business here. However, these people's cultivation levels varied. The highest was only at the late-stage golden core stage. There was no one with a higher cultivation level. The attendants in the building were basically at the spirit nurture stage. Chapter 232. On Earth, spirit gathering stage cultivators were big shots. But here, spirit gathering stage cultivators were just waiters. Along the way, Jiang Xi was no longer surprised by such a scene. However, the two did not stay in the public trading hall of the Grey Cloud building. Shen Wanxi was indeed as influential as he said. He directly took Jiang Xi to the manager of the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall, who was in charge of receiving VIPs. At the same time, he also introduced the situation of the Grey Cloud Star to Jiang Xi. The Grey Cloud sect is the most powerful immortal Tao sect in the Blue Star region. It rules the entire Blue Star region. It is said that the sect's ancestor is at the Tao integration stage and is extremely powerful. The Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall is the largest interstellar trading group under the Grey Cloud sect. It is responsible for the interstellar trading of the sect. Their business is all over the 9-star regions of the Tao Alliance. Shen Wanxi's face was full of envy. Because he was also an interstellar merchant, but he only had a small caravan under him. Compared with a behemoth like the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall, it was like the difference between a small stone and the blue star. When Shen Wanxi said these words, he was also secretly observing Jiang Xi's reaction. However, he found that Jiang Xi's face still remained calm, as if the power of the Grey Cloud sect was not surprising in Jiang Xi's eyes. What is the origin of this guy? Along the way, I didn't notice any change in this guy's expression, nor did he reveal any more identity information. I only know that he came from the Minglan Star region. Shen Wanxi was full of curiosity about Jiang Xi. Of course, it was not out of curiosity. He really wanted to make friends with Jiang Xi. After all, there were not many gold core stage cultivators on the Blue Star who could make the guards of the teleportation hall line up to welcome them. This kind of person's background was definitely not simple. Shen Wanxi was a businessman and knew the importance of making friends with nobles. Therefore, when he left the teleportation hall just now, he took the initiative to catch up with Jiang Xi. When he learned that Jiang Xi was looking for a place to exchange something, he led the way to the Grey Cloud Star Trade Hall. In fact, Jiang Xi was quite shocked. Tao integration stage. In addition to Daoist Gu and Yin Tiansheng, he heard of another Tao integration stage powerhouse. Although he was shocked, his face did not show the slightest abnormality. The patriarch of the immortal Tao sect that ruled an entire star region was only at the Tao reunion level. Then, how powerful was the Purple Heaven sect that Daoist Gu belonged to? Jiang Xi thought to himself. Following Shen Wanxi, they soon arrived at the VIP reception area of the Grey Cloud Star Trade. He wasn't afraid that Shen Wanxi was a scammer. Societal experience was applicable everywhere. Shen Wanxi might have thought that he knew nothing about planet Sanglan, but in fact, in Daoist Ge's inherited memories, there was a general introduction to planet Sanglan. It was just that Shen Wanxi didn't know it in detail. Steward Zhua, this is Brother Jiang Xi from Minglan Star region. He wants to exchange something with you. Shen Wanxi introduced Jiang Xi to a well-dressed old man. Hello, young Master Jiang Xi. Steward Zhua's eyes lit up as he hurriedly invited Jiang Xi to take a seat. He knew Shen Wanxi's ability to recognize people. Since Shen Wanxi treated him so warmly, Jiang Xi's identity must not be simple. Jiang Xi sat down casually. With a sweep of his soul sense, he found that Steward Zhua's cultivation was at the late stage of the Gold Core realm, just like Shen Wanxi. A small VIP steward had such a cultivation, which was enough to show how powerful the Grey Cloud Star trade was. It should be easier for him to exchange something this time. Then, he directly told Steward Zhua what he wanted. My family didn't give me many things when I went out this time, and I'm almost out of spiritual crystals. I just want to exchange some spiritual crystals on planet Sanglan. That's easy. Our Grey Cloud Star trade is famous for its fair prices in the Blue Star region. Take out the things you want to exchange, and I'll help you appraise them first. Steward Zhua said with a smile. He had received similar business countless times, so he was not surprised. Next to him, Shen Wanxi's eyes flashed. He wanted to know what treasures Jiang Xi could take out. From this, he could see Jiang Xi's background. Jiang Xi was very calm. He took out a stone that was 3 inches in length, width, and height from his storage ring and threw it on the table in front of Steward Zhua. A stone? Shen Wanxi lost interest. He thought it was something good. What was so good about a piece of broken stone? This is a wonderful stone. Steward Zhuo's expression changed drastically. He jumped to his feet and was very excited. Yes, this is a wonderful stone. Jiang Xi nodded. A wonderful stone. Shen Wanxi was also shocked. He grabbed the stone and felt it. Then, he exclaimed, "It's really a wonderful stone. When I hold it in my hand, the speed at which I absorb spiritual qi has increased by several times." Steward Zhuo also took it and felt it. The shock on his face did not subside for a long time. He hesitated. "Young Master Jiang Xi, won't your family say something if you sell such a valuable thing? This was given to me by the ancestor. I have a lot of them, so I only keep them for fun." Jiang Xi's tone was calm. Shen Wanxi and Steward Zhuo looked at each other. It turned out that he really was a super young master. How powerful was this ancestor? Such a large piece of wonderful stone, and he gave it to his own junior as a toy. How extravagant. The normal size of a wonderful stone was a cube with length, width, and height of 1 inch. The large piece of wonderful stone that Jiang Xi took out was 3 inches in length, width, and height. If it was divided, such a large wonderful stone could be divided into 27 pieces of normal size. And a normal piece of wonderful stone was enough to increase the efficiency of a cultivator's absorption and transformation of spiritual qi. For cultivators, it was an auxiliary cultivation treasure that could only be encountered by chance. Even the Zhangyan sect, which ruled an entire star region, didn't have many wondrous stones. In the Zhangyan sect, only those genius disciples were qualified to have a small piece. "Give me a price. I'm in a hurry." Jiang Xi smiled faintly. His smile was like a spring breeze, giving people a good impression. He had Taoist Ji's inherited memories, so of course he knew the preciousness of wonderful stones. But wonderful stones were of no use to him. He had the experience value panel, so the effect of the wonderful stone's auxiliary cultivation was not worth mentioning. What's more, he did have a lot of wonderful stones in his hands. He did not lie. These wonderful stones were left behind by the ancestor on earth. When Xian Tian, Li Baibai, and the others first discovered the Jade Lake secret realm, they found many wonderful stones at the top of Mount Tongtian. How big were they? If he had to describe them, each of them was a stone block as big as a millstone. The one in the Genten Budokan Sky Training Camp was just one of them. Before he left this time, he took 3 wonderful stones of the same size from Xian Tian. How powerful was the Jade Lake secret realm at its peak? Wonderful stones are so precious, but they were casually used to make stone blocks. Jiang Xi could not help but sigh as he thought of this. On this side, Steward Zhuo pondered for a moment and finally gave a price. Such a large piece of wonderful stone can be divided into 27 regular pieces. How about 300,000 low-grade spirit crystals? Chapter 233. Jiang Xi shook his head and chuckled. The market price of one stone is 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals, but there is no market for them. If you really want to buy one, the price will be at least 3 times higher. That is to say, after you buy them from me, if you sell them, you can sell them for at least 800,000. Steward Zhuo laughed dryly. He thought that Jiang Xi was a prodigal young master who was easy to fool. He did not expect him to be so shrewd and know the market so well. Then, young master Jiang Xi, how much do you think is appropriate? Steward Zhuo asked. 600,000 low-grade spirit crystals. How about 500,000? 600,000, if it's not enough, it's just pocket money anyway. Jiang Xi's attitude was very firm and he would not budge. Steward Zhuo's expression changed and he finally smiled bitterly. Then let's do as young master Jiang Xi said. Treat it as making friends. Next time, if you have any good things, you can consider asking me for help. The reason why he could agree so readily was very simple. With so many stones, if he sold them to Grey Cloud Star Trade, he could definitely sell them for a high price of 1 million. Of course, he would definitely not sell them. At that time, these stones would all be handed over to the Grey Cloud sect. After all, stones were auxiliary cultivation treasures that could only be found by chance. Sometimes, they could not be bought even if you had money. Jiang Xi also understood this, so his attitude was so tough just now. He nodded gently and smiled. That's easy. It just so happens that I want to buy something from you. Oh. If young Master Jiang Xi needs anything, just say the word. Our Grey Cloud Star Trade's products are definitely the most complete in the Blue Star region. Steward Zhuo's eyes lit up. I don't want my family to know my whereabouts this time, so I need to buy a new communication bead, and then give me 100,000-year-old and 10,000-year-old spiritual items. Jiang Xi chuckled. So many spiritual items? Young Master Jiang Xi wants to refine pills. Steward Zhuo was surprised. I don't want to do that kind of laborious work. I want to buy some spiritual fruits to eat and taste the spiritual fruits of the Blue Star to see if they taste different. Jiang Xi shook his head. His demeanor was that of a rich young master who spent lavishly. Shen Wanxi and Manager Zhuo looked at each other speechlessly. This was too much of a blow. The 1,000-year-old and 10,000-year-old spirit fruits were the raw materials for refining low-grade and mid-grade spirit pills respectively. They were extremely precious. Eating it like a fruit. Afterward, Jiang Xi picked a few types of fays and fruits that he had never eaten before. Not long after, an attendant of the Golden Core stage came over with a storage ring. It contained the things that Jiang Xi needed, including a communication bead. Steward Zhuo inspected the goods one by one for Jiang Xi. These are top-grade messaging pearls, worth 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals. As long as you are within the 9 great starfields of the Tao Alliance, you can use them to send messages. And these spiritual items, Jiang Xi waved his hand to stop him from introducing the items. No need for that. Just calculate the price. Steward Zhuo did not mind and quickly stated the price. A 1,000-year-old fruit costs 100 low-grade spirit crystals. A 10,000-year-old fruit costs 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Together with the communication bead, the total price is 120,000. This time, Jiang Xi did not haggle. That would ruin his image. How could a spendthrift like him do something as lowly as haggling? 120,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Jiang Xi's heart was throbbing with pain. If he calculated according to the blood spirit crystals, that would be 120,000 golden core cultivators. Of course, that was not the case. Low-grade spirit crystals were naturally formed, while blood spirit crystals were refined by the spirit refinement blood array. Young Master Jiang Xi, how do you want the rest of the spirit crystals? Do you want to deposit them in the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank or? Steward Zhuo asked. Deposit 400,000 into the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank. As for the remaining 80,000, exchange them for 6 high-grade spirit crystals, 100 middle-grade spirit crystals, and 10,000 low-grade spirit crystals. I will keep them with me. Jiang Xi took out his identity jade token and added, open a new account in the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank with this information. Also, prepare 2 more storage rings for me. I have other uses for them. His casual attitude convinced Steward Zhuo and Shen Wanxi in the VIP room. Soon, Steward Zhuo took care of everything for Jiang Xi. The remaining spirit crystals were all stored in a new storage ring. He even gave Jiang Xi an empty storage ring as an additional gift. As for the spirit crystals stored in the Tao Alliance Crystal Bank, the next time Jiang Xi wanted to use them, he could just go and retrieve them. The Tao Alliance Crystal Bank was spread throughout the Tao Alliance's 9 great star zones. Basically, there were branches on the larger planets with life. It was very convenient to deposit and withdraw them. After receiving these items, Jiang Xi secretly heaved a sigh of relief. This way, this trip could be considered complete. After leaving planet Ash Cloud, Shen Wanxi's attitude became even more enthusiastic. He no longer called Jiang Xi brother. Instead, he called him Jiang Gu. He could be considered to have completely witnessed Jiangxi's wealth. 600,000 low-grade spirit crystals. He had spent 120,000 of them without even blinking his eyes. He had been on planet Ash Blue for close to 100 years. Relying on an interstellar caravan under him, his savings had only just exceeded 200,000 low-grade spirit crystals. He was only 800,000 low-grade spirit crystals away from his dream of buying a manor in Waterfront City. People really couldn't compare with people. Shen Wanxi was now completely sure that Jiang Xi had a very powerful background. He asked enthusiastically, Jiang Gu, where are we going next? Let's go see the scenery of planet Ash Blue first. Jiang Xi smiled. Looking at romance or looking at specialties? Shen Wanxi smiled mischievously. Jiang Xi raised his eyebrows. Romance. Do I look like that kind of person? In the end, he followed Shen Wanxi to look at specialties. Planet Ash Blue is a famous trading planet in the Zixiao region. The atmosphere of interstellar trade is very strong. In such an environment, it gave birth to a special industry, the slave trade. I'm sure you've never seen this before, Jiang Gu. After all, there aren't many planets in the Taoist Alliance that can carry out legal slave trade. Shen Wanxi brought Jiang Xi to planet Ash Blue's largest slave trade market. There were thousands of shops of various sizes in the entire market. In every shop, cultivators known as slaves were displayed. Stiff, numb, listless, desperate, angry, pessimistic. These slaves' faces were filled with all kinds of negative emotions. Seeing this scene, Jiang Xi was shocked, but he still tried to maintain a calm expression. There are even golden core slaves, and the price is clearly marked. Early golden core, 20,000 low-grade spirit crystals, mid-stage golden core, 50,000 low-grade spirit crystals, and late-stage golden core, 100,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Spirit nurturing is even cheaper. The highest is only 1,000 low-grade spirit crystals. Previously, when he was sorting out Daoist GE's inherited memories, he had a brief understanding of the slave trade in interstellar space. However, the shock brought by the memories was definitely not as deep as seeing it with his own eyes. After all, Daoist Gu was a Dao integration stage elite who stood at the peak of cultivation. A slave trade like this was not within his scope of concern. Chapter 234. The shop in front should have some good stuff. 10 years ago, that slave merchant bought a planet of life in the desolate galaxy from a team of space hunters. The natives of that planet are actually the Catmen clan, which has been extinct in the universe for a long time. Those cat women are all stunningly beautiful. Tisk, Shen Wanxi had a look that all men understood. The two entered the shop. Bosses, come and take a look. My cat women are all top-notch goods. You can't find another shop like them in the entire Kanglan Star region, or even the entire Zixiao region. And our family's goods are also the safest. Whether it's the gold core stage or the spirit gathering stage, we have placed a restriction in the depths of their sea of consciousness. Even the ordinary goods, we have also placed a blood restriction. I guarantee that they are the most obedient. The shop assistant, who was also in the gold core realm, greeted them warmly and introduced the slaves in the shop to them. Jiang Xi glanced around the shop. The owner of this shop was very good at doing business. Every catwoman was locked in a cage. Judging by their cultivation, these catwomen ranged from ordinary people to the spirit gathering realm and then to the gold core realm. The catwomen in the spirit gathering realm and the gold core realm were extremely angry, while the ordinary catwomen were terrified. Coupled with their beautiful figures, they were indeed pitiful. Jiang Xi sighed in his heart and shook his head. Not bad. They are quite attractive. But they are not as good as the butterfly maids in my house. Butterfly maids? That's the best slave maids. Shen Wansi was surprised. Hearing this, the shop assistant's eyes lit up. It turned out that he was a big boss. He quickly said, "Boss, butterfly maids and catwomen have their own characteristics. It's okay to buy some more catwomen. Our shop has a uniform price. Ordinary catwomen only cost 1,000 low-grade spiritual crystals, spirit-gathering catwomen 10,000, and gold core catwomen 100,000. Buy 10 and get 1 free." Seeing that Jiang Xi's expression remained unchanged, he added, "Of course, we also have the treasure of our shop, a catwoman in the late gold core realm. If you want, you only need to pay 200,000. Next time." Jiang Xi suddenly lost interest. Ignoring the shop assistant's pleas to stay, he left the shop with Shen Wansi. Shen Wansi did not notice Jiang Xi's abnormality because Jiang Xi's current state of silence was no different from before he was still sighing. "Sigh, sometimes I really envy those starry sky hunters. They can rely on their powerful combat strength to roam the starry sky. Especially those space hunters who specialize in finding life planets in the desolate star system. If they can find a life planet and sell it to a slave merchant, they will become rich instantly. Buying a manor in Linhai City is also a piece of cake. After all, even the lowest level 1 life planet can be sold for at least 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals. Of course, these space hunters are all people who live on the edge of a blade. Sometimes, if they are unlucky, they might encounter a powerful wild planet. It is common for them to be killed by the natives. Therefore, in the entire slave industry, the ones who make the most money are still the slave merchants. They buy life planets in the desolate star system and use them as slave breeding bases. Then, through the huge population base, they can cultivate spirit nurturing, golden core, and even nascent soul cultivators as slaves. And the lower the level of a life planet, the easier it is to make money. Because the fertility of low-level life forms is generally higher. For example, a level 1 life planet can have a population of more than 10 billion. If there is one spirit nurturing cultivator among 100 million people, it is considered a profit. After 100 years, they can earn 1 million low-grade spiritual crystals. What they earn in the future is pure profit. It is simply a small capital and a huge profit. Shen Wansi's talkative nature was brought to the extreme. His mood alternated between low and high. Jiang Xi looked calm, but in fact, he was listening attentively. These things were not in Taoist Ge's inherited memories. He put away the pride he had felt in planet Grey Cloud star trade. He remained silent, feeling suffocated. It was not that he felt sad for the situation of those slaves, because he was not qualified. He was not a genius from a top immortal Tao sect or an ancient family. The earth he was on was very similar to the planet where those feline girls lived. They were both uncivilized planets. On the feline girl planet, the strongest feline girl was only a late-stage golden core cultivator. After being caught by the starry sky hunters, they became slaves that could be sold. The entire feline girl planet had also become a breeding base for slave traders. If Earth is also discovered by the starry sky hunters, Jiang Xi felt a sense of urgency in his heart. He was afraid that the fate of Earth would not be much better than that of the feline girl planet. In Taoist Ge's inherited memories, there was also detailed information about the level of life planets. The level classification standard was defined according to the strength of the life forms on a life planet. If the number of spirit-nurturing cultivators on a planet did not exceed 10, it was a level 1 life planet. If there were more than 10 spirit-nurturing cultivators under natural conditions, it was a level 2 life planet. By analogy, if there were more than 10 golden core cultivators, it was a level 3 life planet. According to this standard, Earth's current level was a level 3 life planet. However, Jiang Xi was very clear that Earth was not that simple. Jade Lake Secret Realm, Fengdu Secret Realm, E-Mountain Secret Realm, and so on. Those mythical places hid countless secrets. In terms of value, perhaps Earth could be ranked at the top of the entire Blue Star region. Therefore, Earth must not be discovered by other planets. After leaving the slave trading market, Shen Wanxi suggested again, Jiang Gu, why don't you go and see the scenery again? Jiang Xi smiled naturally and said, I suddenly remembered that I have something to deal with. I need to go to another planet first. Shen Wanxi was stunned for a moment and sighed, that's a pity. I still want to take Jiang Gu to see the most beautiful scenery of Blue Star. Next time you come, you must contact me. He did not dare to ask, nor did he dare to guess whether Jiang Xi was all right or not. In any case, he did not want to continue shopping. That's not a problem. Jiang Xi nodded. They had already exchanged communication marks, so they could contact each other through the communication bead next time. Then, Shen Wanxi personally sent Jiang Xi to the teleportation hall of Linhai City. As soon as the two of them entered, a cold young man wearing a black spiritual armor walked towards them. Behind the young man was the guard captain, Gong Shi, who bowed 90 degrees. Sir, please take care. Gong Shi smiled from ear to ear. The young man did not have any expression. When he passed by Jiang Xi, he took a few more glances. His eyes were extremely sharp, as if he could see through Jiang Xi. At this time, Shen Wanxi was also very respectful, even if the young man did not look at him at all. Jiang Xi understood why the two of them were so humble. Nascent Soul Stage. Chapter 235. This was the second time Jiang Xi had seen a nascent soul cultivator since the Fengdu mystic realm. Very strong. Jiang Xi watched the other party leave. Although his expression was calm, his heart was filled with fear. With his current strength, he was not confident of winning against a nascent soul cultivator. Cultivators who could cultivate to the nascent soul stage had basically comprehended one or more Dao intents. Those with high comprehension could even comprehend a deeper level of Dao domain. Their combat strength was 10 times or even 100 times stronger than a golden core cultivator. Jiang Xi looked at the experience panel. Cultivation, Golden Core, Late Stage 940003975000, Dao Technique, Gale Intent, 500,000/500,000, Sword Intent, 1,000,000/1,000,000, Amplitude, 20 Deduction, 10,000 experience points per time. Cultivation Technique, Purple Firmament Sword Manual, Peacock Visualization Experience Points, 20. 8 million, both Dao intents were already perfected. Only his cultivation was still far from the perfected late-stage Golden Core stage. If I meet an early-stage nascent soul cultivator who has comprehended one Dao intent, I can still fight. Any more and I won't be able to do it. Jiang Xi looked at the back of the cold youth again. This person's cultivation exceeded early-stage nascent soul, so he must have comprehended more than one Dao intent. I'm no match for him. If this person is a little stronger and has comprehended a Dao domain, then he'll be even more powerful. The universe is vast and there are countless geniuses. Master didn't lie to me. On Earth, he had already reached the peak. But in the universe, he was still very weak. His name is Feng Si, one of the best nascent soul disciples in the Zhangyin sect. It's said that he has only cultivated for 300 years and has already comprehended a Dao domain. He's very powerful. Shen Wanxi waited until the cold youth was far away before he dared to speak and told Jiang Xi about the youth's identity. Jiang Xi nodded lightly, feeling surprised and helpless. Surprised that this person had indeed comprehended a Dao domain. The next level after true Dao intent was Dao domain. What made him helpless was that in this half a year, he had spent tens of millions of experience points and deduced thousands of times, but he still couldn't deduce the next level of Gale intent and Sword intent. Jiang Xi decided that when he returned this time, he had to work harder and concentrate on cultivating so that he could succeed in his deduction. Not far away, Gong Shi had already seen Jiang Xi. When he walked over, he happened to hear Shenwanxi's words. He first bowed respectfully to Jiang Xi, then smiled and said, Lord Feng Si is a genius that is hard to come by in 1,000 years in our Zhangyan sect. According to our sect master, Lord Feng Si will definitely be able to cultivate the primordial spirit within 1,000 years. His tone was filled with pride, as if he could cultivate the primordial spirit himself. Cough cough, old gong, young master Jiang Xi isn't bad either. Shenwanxi quickly interrupted. He was worried that Gong Shi's words would make Jiang Xi unhappy. Heroes attract, but geniuses repel. Especially since Jiang Xi was born with a noble background, he might not like cultivators who were more talented than him. Ha, yes, Lord Jiang Xi is also a genius that is hard to come by. Gong Shi reacted and quickly laughed. Jiang Xi, the cultural difference was obvious. It could be seen that Shenwanxi and Gong Shi had known each other for a long time, and their relationship should be good. However, the way they addressed each other was very offensive. I have something to do, so I have to leave Kanglan planet first, Jiang Xi said to Gong Shi. Sir, please follow me. Gong Shi brought Jiang Xi and Shenwanxi to the interstellar teleportation array in the depths of the teleportation hall. Jiang Gu, since we've known each other for a long time, I'll pay the teleportation fee for you this time. Shenwanxi smiled. Thank you, but I'll do it myself. The next time I come to Kanglan planet, you can just treat me to the scenery. Jiang Xi politely refused. He didn't like to take advantage of others. The interstellar teleportation fee was 10,000 low-grade spiritual crystals. Shenwanxi's entire wealth was only 200,000. Lord Jiang Xi, let me help you activate the teleportation array. Gong Shi was also very enthusiastic. Jiang Xi shook his head and smiled. I've studied teleportation arrays before, so I can operate it myself. The coordinates of the interstellar teleportation array on the first moon could not be exposed, so he could only operate it himself. Then, under the watchful eyes of Shenwanxi and Gong Shi, he set the teleportation coordinates on the interstellar teleportation array and activated it with a hand seal. The complicated teleportation pattern appeared again, and Jiang Xi waved at the two of them in a dazzling light before disappearing into the interstellar teleportation array. Shenwanxi and Gong Shi both let out a long breath and looked at each other. Then, Gong Shi directly went into the interstellar teleportation array and checked it. It's a teleportation mark that has been encrypted by an expert in teleportation arrays. I can't find the coordinates of the other end of the teleportation array. Gong Shi shook his head. What a mysterious person. Shenwanxi sighed. Gong Shi asked curiously, Xiaoxi, did you find out where Lord Jiang Xi came from? No, I only know that he has a great background and is very rich. He took out a fist-sized rock like it's a toy, and he even has a butterfly girl at home. Shenwanxi told him what had happened at the planet Songyun and the slave market. Gong Shi was shocked. In the solar system, the interstellar teleportation array on the dark side of the first moon appeared. After the Heaven and Earth Spirit Lock array was unlocked, the Heaven and Earth Spirit Chi on the first moon gradually recovered. The surrounding Heaven and Earth Spirit Chi gathered and provided sufficient energy for the operation of the interstellar teleportation array. Jiang Xi's figure appeared in the interstellar teleportation array again. Interstellar half-day tour. Looking at the desolate environment on the moon, Jiang Xi let out a long breath. He was finally home. Then, he swept up the wind and sand and buried the interstellar teleportation array again. Fortunately, Master added a personal mark to this interstellar teleportation array. Cultivators from other planets cannot be teleported here. In this way, the possibility of Earth being discovered by the outside world is very small. This time, Jiang Xi not only saw the prosperous side of the starry sky, but also saw the cruel side. The tragic experience of the cat female planet raised his sense of urgency and vigilance to the highest. He could not relax just because he had reached the peak of Earth. He had to work hard to improve his cultivation. Then, Jiang Xi flew to the dilapidated Guanghan Palace and returned to Earth through the teleportation array there. Pak Sun Province, Villa 92 in Tongtian District. Jiang Xi had just returned when he saw Jiang Daoda standing guard beside the teleportation formation. A smile appeared on his face. The heavy mood he had brought back from planet Sanglan instantly dissipated. As an adult, he had to be able to control his emotions and not bring a bad mood home. "Brother, where's the gift?" Jiang Daodu stretched out her hand and asked with a smile. The little girl's heart was completely at ease. "Here, a specialty of planet Sanglan." Jiang Xi flipped his hand and took out an exquisite storage ring. Unexpectedly, Jiang Daoda's little face turned red. She said angrily, "Brother, I'm not an adult yet." "Jiang Xi, I know you're 4 months and 3 days away from 18. Chapter 236. Cough, this is your storage ring. When you reach the spirit gathering stage, you can refine it. Hey! Why didn't you say so earlier? Jiang Daoda snatched the ring. Looking at her happy face, it was obvious that the misunderstanding just now did not affect her at all. Work hard in your cultivation and strive to break through to the spirit gathering stage as soon as possible. Jiang Xi rubbed Jiang Daoda's head. Don't worry, my visualization is only 10% away from completion. Jiang Daodu was full of confidence. Jiang Xi nodded. He was completely assured about Jiang Daoda's talent. After the 4th recovery of spiritual aura, he passed on the skills of peacock visualization and self-visualization to Jiang Daodu. In less than a year, the little girl was almost done. Her visualization speed was only 2 months slower than him. Jiang Daodu not only had outstanding talent in cultivation, but also her comprehension was first class. After that, he did not do anything. After all, a normal person's life was still necessary. In the evening, taking advantage of the night, Jiang Xi accompanied the little girl to practice the art of assassination for half a day. The next day, Jiang Xi sent a message to Xiantian and Li Baibai respectively, making an appointment to meet in Xiantian City. After eating breakfast and taking a stroll, he flew to Xiantian City. At this time, Xiantian and Li Baibai were already waiting there. Both of them were a little strange. Why did Jiang Xi want to see them at this time? Especially Xiantian, he just met Jiang Xi yesterday. Jiang Xi took 3 wonderful stones from him. In the past 6 months, this kid has been a little mysterious, and he likes to kill monsters very much. He doesn't even let go of the F-class monsters. The monsters in the wilderness around Pak Sun Province are all afraid of him. Xiantian laughed. Not only Pak Sun Province, he also visited the wilderness of Luo City Prefecture many times and killed nearly 1 million monsters. If he continues to kill like this, we will soon be able to completely solve the monster crisis. Li Baibai said. Big brother, sister Baibai, the monster crisis is not so easy to solve. The monsters on land are easy to kill, but the monsters in the sea are not. Jiang Xi's voice came from outside, and then he appeared in front of the two. His words made Xiantian and Li Baibai stunned. Indeed, their strength is very strong on land, but in the sea, it's hard to say. Moreover, there were more monsters in the sea than on land. There were at least 100 times more of them. With such a large base, who knows how many golden core monsters there are? The 3 of them did not dwell on the monster problem, because they knew that it was not realistic to solve the monster crisis on Earth at this stage. They could consider solving the problem on land, but this was not the purpose of Jiang Xi today. Tell us, why are you looking for us today? Why are you being so mysterious? Xiantian laughed. Li Baibai also looked at Jiang Xi curiously. Jiang Xi's expression became serious, and he said in a deep voice, I left Earth yesterday and went to another planet with life. What? Xiantian and Li Baibai were so shocked that they stood up and looked at each other. However, the two of them were originally the first and second strongest on Earth, so they had strong mental fortitude. They quickly calmed down and asked, "Went to another planet with life? How did he go to other planets with life? What do the aliens look like? Are they powerful?" The last question was obviously asked by Xian Tian. Jiang Xi said, "You should remember that I once trained at Jade Lake's Heaven Tower for more than a year. There, I learned about the teleportation portal and found out that the first moon has an interstellar teleportation portal to other planets." He had concealed this point and lied that he had obtained it from the Heavenly Tower. He did not reveal any information about Daoist Go. Anyway, other than him, no one else could see Ni Shang, so they did not know whether it was true or not. Xian Tian nodded and said, "Actually, bye-bye, and I found some clues in some arcane realms. Earth might have been related to aliens in the past, but we did not find any concrete evidence. I didn't expect you to find it first. Tell us, where did you go? What's the situation on other planets?" Li Baibai urged. After that, Jiang Xi told them what he saw on planet Sunglan. At the end of his narration, he said solemnly, "Big brother, sister Baibai, we are the three strongest people on Earth now. We have to become stronger. If the Starry Sky Wanderers discover Earth, our situation may be worse than the Feline Lady planet." Xian Tian and Li Baibai were silent. After a long time, the two of them let out a long sigh. Planet Sunglan is just a guard team, but it's comparable to the top forces on Earth. Planet Sunglan, which is similar to Earth in terms of strength, has become a breeding base for slave traders. Hearing the two of them sighing, Jiang Xi's heart was also very heavy. He had thought long and hard before telling Xian Tian and Li Baibai about this matter. It was still too weak to rely on his own strength to protect the Earth. If he did not count his existence, Xian Tian and Li Baibai were actually the real geniuses of the Spirit Qi revival era. Their talent and comprehension were top geniuses even in the universe. It was the best choice to work with the two of them to protect Earth. However, Jiang Xi understood that his words should be a big blow to Xian Tian and Li Baibai. They suddenly realized that the world was so big, and there were countless existences stronger than them. This contrast would make anyone uncomfortable, right? However, the next moment, Jiang Xi was stunned. Such a starry sky is really exciting. Li Baibai, who had always been calm, could not suppress the excitement in her heart at this time. "Jiang Xi, you sneaked to an alien planet by yourself. You didn't even bring us along for such an exciting event." Xian Tian was even more furious as he glared at him. "Big brother, sister Baibai, you guys." Jiang Xi was really dumbfounded. The reactions of these two people were not what he had imagined. "Ha, do you think our worldview will be shocked and we will be so scared that we will doubt life?" Xian Tian laughed. "Actually, Big brother and I have been bored to death. Before the fourth Spirit Qi revival, those old guys on Earth were hiding and we couldn't find any opponents at all." Li Baibai explained with a smile. "Yeah, this situation has been going on for 30 or 40 years. It wasn't until some time ago in the holy city of the West that I finally had a good fight and satisfied my craving." Xian Tian said again. Jiang Xi, he finally understood that these two were fighting maniacs. Even Li Baibai, who was calm on the surface, had a fighting passion. "Aren't you worried at all? If Earth is discovered by the Star Hunters?" Jiang Xi asked. "Jiang Xi, let's not give up eating for fear of choking. Instead of worrying about these uncertain things, it's better to think about how to improve your strength. Thinking about it will only increase your worries and affect your usual cultivation." Li Baibai shook her head and chuckled, "You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.